Okay. Well, thank God the fucking stream works now. Sorry that I'm fucking 2 hours, almost 2.25 hours late. Uh, two things happened. Number one, computer, the internet was just going out. It was just being a prick. It wouldn't fucking connect. So I said, fuck it, and I just restarted my computer, fucking from the ground up again, and I passed out. Passed out waiting, and I had one fuck of a nightmare in that 2 hour, not even 2 hour nap. Actually, what time did I wake up and go? Tired still, so I had to go out and get myself a tea. I got myself some coffee rolls because I went to dump. And it's chilly enough to where you're not sweating. You don't need any extra. Fucking unbearably humid. Ugh. Oh boy. Yeah. Successfully connected. So I don't know when the stream's going to just boot me. I'm not even sure if I'm alive. Son of a bitch. No, I'm guessing not. Saying 0 viewers. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. Just making sure. But so I'm going to explain to you this dream. I have to. I just have to. It's that fucking creepy. It's just that fucking creepy. It really fucking is. And it's like, what the fuck were you smoking when you had this dream, Darth? So I have a friend named Sarah. We've been friends since high school. So that's going on. Let's see. We were in school. We were in high school in 2005. And we were going to graduate as class of 09. So about 12 years. Yeah, at least 12 years we've known each other. And so I think it was 2 years ago she had a child named Gilbert. She had a son. And so we've been trying to hang out for the last few years. Busy with work. I'm busy with work. She has a child, so she has to be a parent. So it's kind of complicated, very clustered, very messy schedule, and so we don't really get to hang out as often as we'd like. In fact, we've only hung out once this year, and we've tried to set up plans for a few times. So I go to sleep. I'm taking my nap while I wait for my computer to fucking start up. In the dream, I'm hanging out with my friend Sarah. And I'm like, oh, hey, Sarah, how you doing? Or something, just some kind of small talk. And she starts talking. Then I hear this ungodly creaking from inside the baby room. And she's like, oh, goody, Gilbert's awake. I have to show Gilbert to you. Because in real life, she's wanted to introduce me to her son. Oh, okay. Now, Gilbert's Gilbert's like 2 years old now. He's fairly big. And I'm not saying big as in like he's a fat baby. I mean, he's a fairly grown 2-year-old. Like, he's toddler height. She comes walking out with something the size of like a fucking, I don't even know, probably like a 6-inch fetus. And it is fucking mummified. And it's got a onesie on with feety. It's got footy pajamas. And it's in a fetal position. And it's just fucking gray and hard as a brick bat. And she hands it to me, and I'm holding it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? But I don't want to say anything because I'm going to offend Sarah by saying that her baby is hideous. And so I'm just holding it. I'm not holding it like a child should be. I've got it like on my hands, palms open, just hovering over my fucking my lap. I do not want to hold this thing. Like, that's the impression of what I can give you. And then she's like, oh, he needs to be cleaned up. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean? What do you mean clean him up? Well, dear listeners and viewers, the reason why she needed to clean up Gilbert, the fossilized fetus, was because he was gurgling something. Some kind of fluid was escaping his fucking mouth. And it was like spittle, and it was just dropping to the floor in the most disgusting sound ever coming out of this thing's mouth. And it was dead. It had to have been dead because it wasn't breathing. I was holding the fucker. It wasn't breathing. She comes up, she tells me, oh, just bring him over to the counter. So I'm cautiously trying not to drop this fucking thing while spittle is just frothing out of its mouth like a faucet and landing on the floor. I don't want any on me. I don't know what the fuck it is. And I bring it over to the counter, and I gently put it down, and it sounds like you take a rounded rock, and put it on a countertop, and just push it. You know the sound, the rumbling sound of the rock as it skitters back and forth, trying to balance itself, get back into fucking balance again on the countertop? That's what he sounded like when he was on the fucking thing. He sounded like a fucking rock. He sounded like a goddamn rock. And she's wiping the fucking spittle foam that's just oozing out of his mouth. And she's like, silly baby. Like, oh, you need to tell mommy more often. And I'm just standing there in abject horror going, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? And that ain't the worst. No, folks, that ain't the worst. This is what snapped me out of the fucking dream. Sarah says, oh, looks like you have crusties in your eyes. And a little around your lips, around your mouth. She takes... Oh, fucking Christ, man. I don't know. She takes her finger, like, with her long fingernails. Like, you know, chicks have longer nails than us guys. She starts scratching at his fucking eyelids that have crust all over them. And she's ripping skin off. Like, piece by fucking piece. And so she gets the one eye that had crusts in it. Fucking what the fuck ever. And it's just one luminous fucking eyeball, and it's just staring into the fucking vacant void. It's dead. If there was any doubts, those doubts have been shattered. But it gets worse because she starts doing his lip. And that she does it, she's no longer just scratching at his eye or his lip. No, she's now peeling strips of fucking just mummified skin off of his mouth until his whole mouth is now completely bare, so you can see, and the gums are mummified, and there's some kind of fucking filth or mold growing on them because he's mummified, and just spittle starts oozing out again. I'm just gone. I've woken up. My subconscious dreaming mind could not handle what I was seeing, and snapped me back into the now. I am back in the land of the living. I don't know why that was in my dream. I've never had a dream like that. I've never had a dream about Gilbert, for God's sakes. I've only talked about Gilbert with my friend Sarah like 4 fucking times, and the last time was like in April. Like, I don't know what the fuck caused that. I honestly don't. I was gonna write about it on my fucking real Facebook. I am sorry I made you dry retch. I am sorry, Sten. I am sorry. How do you think I felt? Like, I'm honestly surprised I was able to just wake up and not be sick to my stomach. I'm kind of proud of myself that in my dream I wasn't like screaming in the corner, like in a fetal position, going, "Oh God, why no?" Like, I was just standing there, just thinking that in my head, like, what this should not be. What the fuck? Let's see. Give me 1 second. I gotta mix my tea. There we go. Yes, then. Seriously, a lot of my nightmares could be made into silent, artsy fartsy films. And by silent, I don't mean like, hey, let's not make a talkie. I mean silent in that there's no talking. The actors don't talk, but you can hear like sounds. So like the creaking of doors or the sound of the wind, just the natural sounds of the world, by and large. Just have that, because that's usually how most of my dreams are, where it's the sounds that are the most horrifying things, along with the, like, you know, the visuals of what was happening. Like, I had one dream. I'm actually writing a short story. I have not picked it up in God knows how long, because I just been busy with work and dealing with shit. But one of those nightmares, I'm trying to make into a short horror novel, and I actually have to send Byron some of it to proofread. But one of the other dreams I have was I was in picture the Bronx. Picture Queens or the Bronx, one of the boroughs of Manhattan, around Manhattan. Picture one of those, the standard brick projects look. I was in an area like that. That's why I'd say like the Bronx, or well, I don't even think the Bronx is a boroughs. Now that I think about it. Oh fuck. And I should know this. I fucking watch and read and fucking know a lot about fucking Spider-Man. No, the fucking 5 boroughs of New York. Plus, if I remember correctly, the Warriors talk about it, and that's one of my very fond movies. Yeah, the Bronx. Okay, thank God. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island. Okay. Yeah, the Bronx is way up there, so it'd probably be Queens or Brooklyn. Not sure, but anyways, I'm in a city. I'm in a cityscape that's like one of the 5 boroughs. It's very old school, fucking like the 60s or 70s brick buildings that were like the fucking trend in Manhattan and around the area. And it's just a fucking wasteland. Looks like a zombie apocalypse hit. There's cars flipped over. Some cars are burning. Trash every fucking where. Houses boarded up. Some houses on fire. Some houses just caved in and collapsed. Craters here and there. And I'm just walking around. Just complete. Now, here's the thing. I'm completely bare ass. And it's raining. And it is fucking cold out. And I'm walking through this fucking vicious hellscape where there's broken glass, shards of metal, fucking sharp chunks of concrete, all kinds of stuff. And my feet are getting fucking cut up while I'm walking through it because there's no way around it. And then all of a sudden, I hear this low hum. And it sounds like a transformer on a telephone pole that's about to overload and just explode. And I'm not sure if Sten's heard it. He may have, because in New England, that's a common thing that happens during snowstorms. During a lot of storms, especially snowstorms, you'll hear this low but intense hum. And that's because the transformer is just overheating and overloading. And it's going to go. It's going to either come, it's going to explode. So I'm hearing this just oppressive hum, and I'm just my fight or flight instincts immediately kick in, and I run into an alleyway and I hide behind the dumpster. And all of a sudden, I just start seeing these weird little fucking like laser pointers, like solid beams, mind you, not just like the end of a laser pointer. I'm talking solid beam lasers, hard light. And they're all just skittering across that alleyway that I'm hiding in. And I take a peek, and there's this big fuck off like machine monstrosity just hovering. Like, I don't even know how to describe. Picture the Covenant dropships, not the big like rectangle ones where the sides open up and then there's like little doors where the people come out, where the Covenant come out. I'm talking like the troop transport with like the teleporter pod in the middle that just lowers you. Picture that, but with just it just looked like it was a piece of junk. Like it just come out like it could blend in perfectly with a junkyard. Chunks of cable and fucking wiring, metal parts just falling apart off the fucking thing. And this mass of individual like laser pointer fixtures at the like all across the underbelly of this fucking thing, and they're all moving independently, just scanning the whole area. And a couple graze me and they fucking burn, And so I just cover my mouth because I'm too fucking horrified. I don't know what the fuck this thing is going to do. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know where the fuck I am. So I'm not going to fucking scream out because I'm horrified. I don't want to die. And so it just literally keeps going down the street. And it's hovering a good 10 feet, 15 feet above the ground, and the fucking thing must be 60 to 70 feet long. It's a massive fucking monstrosity. It's a massive machine. And so as soon as it just lazily fucking goes down its way, I immediately start scrambling through this dumpster to find anything I can use for souls. And so I find some scrap fucking cardboard, some fucking plastic, plastic bags, shit like that. I fucking make myself makeshift shoes. And I fucking find a beat up fucking pair of, I think, shorts and a shirt. And they're horribly, I think the shirt was horribly burned or something like that, or there were holes in it. Completely fucking rotten clothing, but it's better than fucking just standing out in the freezing cold rain. Throw it on. Thing I know is this fucking machine is back, and it just starts lowering itself above me. And so I scrambled to a sewer grate, basin, or a storm drain, and I fucking lifted it, and I just jumped inside. And I started scurrying through this inner network of fucking maze-like tunnels filled with putrid, just putrid shit. Just putrid fucking trash and garbage and filth just draining into the fucking system. And so I forget what happened. I forgot how I got to it, but it was a giant connector, like a connector. It was like one giant intersection. There were fucking pipes coming from every which way. And it was just a giant fuck off waterfall. There was a catch basin where all the fucking the water and shit would fucking collect, but then once it started to overflow, that would mean it would go over, and that would help from it backing up back into the system or something like that. And so I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then the next thing I know is I lose my grip, I lose my footing, and I fall into this giant fucking reservoir of water. And it's burning my fucking eyes because of all the kinds of chemicals and shit inside the fucking water. And the next thing I know is I see, because somehow I'm able to open my fucking eyes, I am able to see a giant fucking mound in the water. And it's kind of faintly glittery. And I come up to it, and it is the best way I can describe it. It was T-800s. That's what they looked like. They looked like T-800 Model 101 Terminators. Either that or Necrons from 40K. And there was a fucking mound just laying there like they were corpses. And I start panicking, and before I can even fucking move, one of them already latches onto my fucking leg, and the fingers just dig right into the muscle of my leg, and I can feel it just gripping the bone and pulling me. One of them fucking just grabs my other leg, and fucking two more grab my thighs, two more grab my shoulders, forearms, and just I'm immediately starting to get clawed to pieces. So I was going to either drown or be ripped alive. I was going to be ripped piece by piece alive. And that's when I woke up. All right, some fucked up shit. That'd be good for a silent movie, like one of those silent artsy-fartsy movies I was talking about. Maybe like a 5-10 minute long fucking movie. Because that's one thing I hate about most streams. They feel a lot longer than like they actually are. Like, there's been times where I've been asleep for fucking 8 hours, and I've had a dream for like 10 minutes. the dream lasted like 10. The dream felt like it was 10 minutes long inside the dream, and then I woke up and it was like 8 hours past. And it's like, the fuck. Let's see. But yeah. Also, oh god, what was it that something happened with Trump? Hang on, let me open up fucking Yahoo because I was hearing something about it last night. Really? Well, that's news to me. Bill Cosby's sex assault case ends in mistrial. Load up the article, please, because I gotta read this. I need to know what the fuck is going the fuck on and how the fuck it was a mistrial. Yeah, bullshit. Just because he's the fucking leader of the fucking country does not mean that he is exempt from any crime. Exactly, Sten. He tried getting Clinton on obstruction. After 6 days of deliberation, the 7 men and 5 women selected to serve on the jury were unable to render a unanimous verdict on any of the 3 counts of felony aggravated indecent assault with which Cosby has been charged. After more than 40 hours of discussion, the jury told the judge they were deadlocked, and he ordered them to continue deliberations. During the week-long trial, Cosby, 79, never took the stand, but excerpts from his 2005 to 2006 depositions in a civil suit brought on by Constant were read aloud. The defense called only one witness, a detective, to the stand. While Constant, her mother, another accuser, Kelly Johnson, and others testified last week for the prosecution. Montgomery County District Attorney Kevin Steele closed the prosecution's case on Monday by describing Cosby as a calculating sexual predator who not only drugged and assaulted Constant in 2004, but also recast the attack as consensual and romantic. Constant, 44, testified for 7 hours over the course of 2 days last week, telling the jury that in 2004, Cosby gave her a drug at his home in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, that rendered her unable to stop his alleged assaults. Quote, in my head, I was trying to get my hands to move or my legs to move, but I was frozen, and those mental messages didn't get there, and I was very limp, so I wasn't able to fight it. I wanted it to stop. According to portions of Cosby's deposition, he gave Constant to, quote, relax her during a consensual sexual encounter. Comfortable and relaxed and be able. Cosby, quotes from Cosby's deposition about his use of Quaaludes in the 70s. Cosby admitted that giving the prescription sedative to multiple women with whom he wanted to have sex and said he didn't take the drug himself, but he did not admit to giving Quaaludes to anyone without their knowledge. Cosby has denied any wrongdoings and other accusations. Lovely. Yeah. I have a feeling his age played into it. I mean, the motherfucker is 79. Christ, there's some people that are saying that the Nazi that escaped fucking prosecution, who's like 90 something years old and has Alzheimer's now, shouldn't be tried because he's old and he has Alzheimer's. It's like they're not going to put him in fucking jail. They're going to give him a guilty. They're going to say that he is guilty of war crimes, so that his name is put in the list as people who have been found, prosecuted, and fucking doled out justice. They can't put him in prison, but they can fucking drop a guilty charge on him. Exactly, so he's held accountable. Like they have I think it was the Polish and German government said without a shadow of a doubt that this was the man they were looking for, because he just magically appeared in the United States. And he's been living in the States for like 40 or 50 fucking years, which means for 40 or 50 fucking years, he had a wife and kids and family and lied to them all that he had killed fucking, like, he had ordered the killings of men, women, and children in a Polish village. Or multiple villages, I forget which. But at least one village. And that's because his SS major was killed by, rebels. It's insane. Absolutely is fucking insane. Ay, ay, ay. Also, the guy actually made a decent fucking tea. Most times I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I get a shit tea. Let's see. Donald Trump's attorney, Mark Kasowitz, hit with ethics complaint. Also, Michelle Carter was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. That's been pissing off a lot of people. I actually had an argument with my father about that. He doesn't think that she should have been found guilty. But when I explained to him, like, the circumstances behind that, like, he didn't know that he thought that she just said it like maybe a few times. And that was it. And then he committed suicide. He didn't know that it was over the course of hours. He didn't know because apparently the prosecution showed that she was on a phone call with him and she listened to him suffocating. That's apparently a thing. The court case. I guess there was a phone call that was made around, I guess, at the time where he actually did finally pass out, suffocate, and die from the carbon monoxide poisoning. And the call ended like a certain amount of time after his death. The call ended, which means she listened to him suffocating and dying slowly. That's evil. That's monstrous right there. To listen to some fucking person that you claim to be in love with, and you're going to listen to them fucking slowly die and asphyxiate. Ugh, just can't. Like, I can never imagine someone doing that. Exactly, a complete lack of care for human life. Ay, ay, ay. What is this world coming to? Also, that Minnesota cop that shot the black guy that was sitting in the car that's told him that he had a gun and he was reaching for his permit to show him, and the cop shot him. He's been found not guilty. That came out I think last night or yesterday. That's fucked up. Because it's like, we have video footage of it. The guy wasn't reaching for a gun. Jesus Christ. Uh, yeah, accountability is not being held to these people. Um, God, it like, I don't even know if they've settled the court things with the guy's girlfriend and daughter. The fact that they detained both of them for hours without feeding or watering them, or calling a lawyer. You detained like a 3 or 4 year old at the time for hours without her mother there. You didn't give this child food or water or anything. That is insane. Oh, but they shouldn't be considered guilty. Also, one of the people I know, funnily enough, his name is Chris. I guess I should go into a little bit of detail on this story because it's kind of hilarious and it's kind of pathetic, and it shows how fucked up the court system is at times. So, abandonment laws. By law, if I remember correctly, if you have something on somebody else's property for 30 days and you do not try to reclaim it, that person who has it on their property can do whatever they wish with it. They can call you and tell you, hey, I'm doing this, and by right, because it's on their property for 30 days, they can do whatever they want with it. At least that's what the courts told us. So, I think it was 2011. I think it was 2011, 2012, around that time. My brother's friend Chris came over. Now, Chris had a car, his mother's car, and Chris's mother wanted to get rid of the car and claim on the insurance so they could get a new car. He came over to the house and he wanted my brother to help him burn it. Drive it out to the middle of the woods, burn it, and just leave it so they could claim insurance. And they were going to claim that it got carjacked or stolen and somebody destroyed it. Well, my brother told him, no, I'm not doing it. Well, Chris just left the fucking car there. and it sat there for about a month. He came back and he was jonesing. He needed money. So he scrapped as much as he could off of it. He took the radiator. He took all the anything copper or a value in the fucking car that was parts, he took. He cut the gas line so he could empty the gas tank out because it had like 3/4 of a full tank. So he could have the gasoline for his friend's car who drove him over. So the thing the gas line's been cut. There's no way to fucking move the thing. The whole thing's been junked. So it's just a junk car just sitting in our driveway. And it sat there for about 2 months. Well over 30 days. And my father kept calling Chris and telling him, hey, when the fuck are you getting this goddamn car off my property? And Chris would just be like, oh, well, it can't go anywhere. What the fuck do you mean it can't go anywhere? Well, we cut the gas line, took the gas out of the fucking car. We fucking took the radiator, the fucking all the chunks and parts out of the fucking thing. He came, and when he was doing that, he grabbed everything out of the trunk and inside the car that was of value, his phone, laptop, etc. Took all that out and he left. So he abandoned the car. So my father called a tow truck. Called the tow truck, told him, hey, some kid fucking just left his car here. He junked it. It doesn't run. It can't run. There's no way it's going to fucking make it off my fucking property. I want you to come here and take the thing off my fucking driveway. So the tow truck came, towed the car away, and junked it. A couple months go by. Everything's fine. Haven't heard a word from Chris or anything like that. Well, Chris comes. Sure enough, like 4 or 5 months later, hey, where's my car? And my father's like, I called a tow truck months ago. I called you and told you, when are you going to tow it? Oh, well, my mother's pissed that you did that. And my father's like, okay, did you tell her that you junked it and left it just sitting in my fucking driveway for months? Yeah. All right then, 30 days. After 30 days, it's my property because it's sitting on my fucking property. I can do what I want with it. I called a tow truck. They brought it to the fucking junk. They brought it to a junkyard because the guy even checked, the tow truck driver even checked it out. He's like, it's not even fucking worth impounding it. We're just going to bring it to a junkyard and junk it. And we'll take the money and that'll fucking compensate us for fucking taking it off your hands and driving out here and towing it. And my father was like, all right. So Chris gets pissed off. He calls his mother. His mother starts freaking out at my father. She sues him, claiming that it wasn't abandoned. They knew where it was. They were going to get it eventually. And that was it. So I had to go to court with my father and my brother. And all three of us testified. All of my brother's friends that were there throughout the entire fucking 6-month fucking process of this whole car fiasco testified. And they all told the same fucking story, beat for beat. Chris came here, told us he wanted to do an insurance fraud fucking policy. He wanted to fucking destroy the car somehow, claim money and get a new car. And she didn't care how he did it. And apparently I guess the court just didn't believe it. To be that fucking stupid. Even though when them like, hey, where are the text messages that you claim that you've sent? Because apparently his mother I'm coming to pick up the car. She never showed any evidence of that. She never showed a single text message or a single phone call that she attempted to try and call my father. None of it. She had no evidence backing her, but the court sided with her anyways. And then she tried claiming that Chris's phone was in the car when it was towed away, even though my father said Chris came to the house like a couple months later with the same phone that he had gotten out of the car. Chris's best friend that was there when they were picking up all his stuff was there, and he even testified, yeah, he grabbed a laptop, a cell phone, and a bunch of shit out of the trunk and inside the car. Even told the court that they fucking cut the fuel line to drain the fucking tank, and they took out the radiator and all the other goodies in the under the hood to sell for scrap metal and for fucking money. They were going to sell the parts for money. And like our attorney was like, well, do you think after you took all those parts out, the vehicle would move or run? And Chris's friend was like, no. There was no way that thing was going to move. Like we scrapped every little nook and cranny we possibly could off that fucking car. Judge still sided with her. So my father got slammed with a $4,500 bill, which he's still paying off to this day. So, fast forward to Tuesday. No, fast forward to Wednesday. Now, I worked Wednesday, and I'm minding my own fucking business, and we're driving around. We're heading back to the shop. We hear police sirens, and we hear the fire trucks going. Now, this is probably, I'd say, 2 miles away from us. I paid no mind to it. I thought, hey, there was something was going on. Somebody either died or got into an accident, whatever. I was right. There was an accident. This morning, when I woke up, I'm scrolling through my real Facebook. Now, I have Chris friended on my real Facebook. And he'll post here and there talking about, hey, does anybody have any money, or can somebody give me a ride? Because he's broke and he doesn't have a vehicle for some fucking reason. I don't fucking know. Kid's a bum. Kid's a dirtbag. And the kid's an idiot. Well, a bunch of my friends posted police reports that Chris smashed into a fucking car, and the car he was in rolled 230 feet and stopped into a fucking tree. Four people were rushed to the hospital. Chris and apparently his girlfriend were in one car. They might have had another passenger, or there were two passengers in the car they struck. And I saw video footage of it, police video footage of it. The car he struck, he ripped the whole fucking engine off the front of the thing. To be moving. You also have to be moving pretty fucking fast to roll 230 feet into a fucking tree. Chris was charged with he had a bunch of charges thrown onto him, and the biggest charge thrown on him was operating a vehicle under the influence. So he got slammed with the drug charge. His mother is on Facebook right now, as we speak, probably arguing with people, claiming that, oh, it's just a trumped up charge. Cops gave him the hospital gave him a drug test when they brought him to the fucking ER. He has no drugs in his system. He wasn't doing drugs. My son doesn't do drugs. It's like, yeah, your son does drugs. I've seen him do drugs. My brother was doing the same drugs that he was doing. All of the fucking guys that were hanging out in my brother's bedroom when they were hanging out chilling did drugs, not just pot. We're talking mushrooms, LSD, cocaine, heroin, fucking Molly, which is basically just ecstasy, fucking oxycodone, fucking codeine. They were fucking DMX. They were doing DMX. They were robo tripping. They smoked the spice, the fucking pulpery fake weed shit. They did everything they could under the fucking sun. So yes, your son was probably high, or he was drunk. Who knows? Kind of suspicious that he was speeding that fast to rip the front of a fucking car right in two, and then roll his car 230 feet and smash into a tree. Kind of suspicious. I don't think the common man would be, and plus the road he was going on is going towards town. I think the maximum fucking speed limit is 40 miles per hour. It's either 30 or 40. I've seen accidents at 30, 40 miles per hour. I've seen the damage they can do. I bore witness to an 80 mile per hour crash just right here in the fucking corner of the fucking street. Like, there ain't no way your son was fucking going 40 and struck that person. Like, exactly. He must have been going like 80. Yeah. Like, that's the same fucking thing that the cops were trying to tell me and my family when this kid, fucking Michael, struck and killed my grandfather. Like, oh, well, he was going about 15 miles per hour when he struck him. And I wish I had the pictures. I know my father took actual hard copy pictures with a disposable camera. They're somewhere. But he struck my grandfather so hard that he bent the car into a fucking triangle, launched my grandfather from the driver's seat through the passenger window, and when he pushed the car and struck it, because it kept on, his car just kept on going, he snapped 2 telephone poles at the base, and he pushed his engine block 6 inches into the dashboard, completely destroying the steering wheel and all the fucking the whole dash. You can see the engine block. That ain't a 15 mile per hour crash. You can't say 15. Like, that would mean that if a 15 mile per hour crash did that damage, nobody on the fucking road would drive to this day. Kind of nobody would. Father so hard, or he was able to. The accident. With what Chris did, ain't no way he was going 40 miles per hour. The 80 mile per hour crash I saw, the chick struck a tractor trailer truck, bread up a block from me, and it's on a one-way coming towards my apartment. Fucking bread shops here in the city around 3 o'clock in the morning, because most of the shops are going to start putting them onto the shelves and stuff like that. Portuguese and fucking Christ, YouTube and Google. So anyways, I was sitting on my balcony because I live on the second floor, and I'm minding my own business, smoking a cigarette, just relaxing, just taking in the night air. And I think it was, oh Christ, I can't even remember. It had to have been, yeah, it was in the middle of I think it had to have either been December. I think it was December or November, because that's when we actually started getting a little ice on the streets. So I'm minding my own business. I'm enjoying the night. And I see one of these trucks coming down. And it's just a common thing I'd see in the middle of the night around 3 in the morning, because at the time I was going to bed around 4 or 5 in the morning. And so I'm like, oh, all right. I'm paying no mind to it. It's just a common thing that happens at this hour. Like, even now, at the middle of the night, sometimes I'll wake up and I'll start hearing the fucking bakery trucks driving around. So this guy's looking, because he's reached the intersection. And he looks left and he looks right and he looks left again and he looks right again to make sure that the fucking road's clear so he can cross. Well, he's halfway across the intersection when out of fucking nowhere, on the right side or the left side of the car or the truck, which I can see, meaning to the right of me, some chick driving at like at least 80 miles per hour comes barreling down the avenue and strikes him right there in the middle of the fucking trailer. Now the trailer sits about, I'd say, 2.5, 3 feet off the ground, maybe 4 feet. Because trailers, I'd say about 3.5 feet. Because the tractor trailers that they're using are the ones that Donald uses. And Donald's ones sit at about 3.5 feet. They're up to my waist. And I'm 6 foot. So I'd say, around 3.5 feet. Once she struck that, because there's an undercarriage to tractor trailers. Once she struck that, she hit it with so much force that the whole front end, like the casing of her car, the bumper casing, the hood, light fixtures, all that went forwards. They just got ripped off from the fucking sudden impact and stopped, and like just the momentum stopping. And the bumper and the hood and the fucking light fixtures and the grill went flying 30, 40 feet forwards under the truck and just kept on going down the street and just toppled about, and then they stopped. The engine, because she struck it, and as you know, most hood cars have a hood, like a curve to them at the hood. They get bigger and higher the farther back you are. Well, the metal lining of the trailer just buckled and pushed the engine and just bent it in two. Pushed it right into her fucking dash. Cracked the windshield because of the fucking motor being pushed in. The whole front end got crumpled. One of the tires popped because of the impact. And she was just stopped. Dead in her fucking tracks. Gasoline's leaking out of the fucking thing. Motor oil's leaking out of it. Fucking antifreeze. Hydraulic. There's all kinds of fluids just leaking out of this fucking engine now. It's smoking. She has the engine. It's still, for some, I don't know how, with the amount of damage, but parts of it were still running and revving up. I think it was probably the fan. The fan and the belt were still intact, and those were they just kept going. So it was a high whine. And she didn't turn the fucking motor off. She opens up the door and immediately screams, "My legs! You broke my legs!" And the absurdity of what I had just seen, knowing that it was her fault, and then her trying to pin the blame on him, just made me cackle out loud as I could. And what made me laugh even harder and longer was the guy just was sitting in the driver's seat, and he looked as soon as she struck him, and it just dead stopped because it was like a 15-second pause before she opened the door. The guy just looked at the car, then he looked down at his fucking dash, and I said, and all I could hear him go was, "Oh, here we go." And he grabbed a cigarette and lit it. And he just looked back while she opened up her door, and he was just looking like, yeah, fucking cry wolf. And that just made me laugh even more. So he grabbed his phone, and he calls up the fucking bakery just a block up away, and he's like, "Yeah, I just got struck broadside, and this bitch is trying to claim," and like, I'm not even fucking paraphrasing. He literally said, "This bitch is trying to fucking claim that it was my fault." And she just keeps screaming that her legs hurt and all whatnot, and that her legs are broken, and she can't walk, and she can't move. And that she's going to sue him, and it's all his fault, and blah, blah, blah. So he has his boss on speakerphone because he's looking at the damage of the trailer. And the boss is like, "Well, I've got somebody calling the cops, and I've got an ambulance on the way too, if she really is hurt." And he's like, "Just check the trailer, check the back, see if we can offload it and put it onto another truck, and we'll just bring this one back in." So he's like, "All right." So he's still on the call with his boss or foreman or whatever. He opens up the back of the trailer, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have to fucking move it all. It's all shifted and shit, but it's all fine. Go onto another fucking. We can take the pallets and throw them onto the back of another truck." So the guy's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna drive down with the other truck. We'll park it in the fucking in the road because it's a one-way, and we'll wait for the cops to come." So about 20 fucking minutes go by. Cops finally show up with an ambulance and fire truck. The fire fucking station. There's one here. It's on the same city block as my house is. It's like, I'd say 100 yards away. Took them 20 minutes to get that fucking fire truck over here. So now we got like two cruisers, one blocking off the avenue on one side of where the truck was, and then the other one was blocking off the other side of the road. So my city block, about, I'd say it's you have 4 city blocks in a square, and you have in the middle of those streets. One way is in the middle, and then the avenue is in the center going horizontal. They blocked off the horizontal road. They didn't block off the one way. People were going around the blockade and trying to go down this one way. And then they realized, oh, fuck, that's right. This street runs down this street. We can't cross it because it's a fucking accident site. Backed up. People were just blocked. They couldn't do anything. Which shows you the stupidity of fucking people, especially when it comes to driving. But it gets better, because as soon as the cops come, the chick's no longer screaming that her legs are broken. She spent a solid 5 minutes telling the guy he's an asshole and he shouldn't have the road, and why was he going so slow crossing it, and blah, blah, blah. Trailers are heavy. A delicate load. It's full of bread. You don't want to damage your product in transit. We're out of money, and the fucking or pay for the product that they ordered. The roads are icy. You stupid bitch. The roads are icy. It takes a fair amount of time for a fucking truck to slow with a fucking full load in the back. I should know. I've seen tractor trailer trucks moving through fucking Donald's fucking business. Empty. The difference between an empty trailer truckload and a full one, it's white and black. So she's trying to pin all this fucking blame on him, and it's like, I saw you. He saw you. If they needed a witness, like if they were siding with her, I would have jumped down off the fucking second story balcony and been like, "Excuse me, I've been sitting here the whole fucking time smoking cigarettes. I saw her fucking go at least 80 miles per hour and smash into the fucker. He looked both ways before he fucking went. Twice. So he didn't get into an accident. He was halfway across the intersection when she struck him." So cops go over to her. She's still sitting in the fucking. She's sitting in the fucking driver's seat, texting somebody. Which I later found out who it was. But the cops asked her, "Is she all right?" EMTs were there. Fucking firefighters were there. They fucking helped her out of the fucking the driver's seat because she kept saying her legs were hurting and numb, and she couldn't feel them, and she thought they might be broken. Her legs are fine. She was able to walk fine. And she said, and they told her to sit down on the sidewalk. And one of the cops walks up to the EMT and he's like, "So, what's the diagnosis? What's wrong with her?" The EMT just looks at the cop and says, "She's a low priority. She can fucking wait." And the cop's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, She's only got minor bruising and scuffs. That's it. We checked her. She doesn't have any broken or fractured bones or any signs of having any broken or fractured bones. She's fine. She's a little shaken up, but she's got bruising in her legs and she's getting just scrapes and cuts from when the fucking engine block got pushed into the dashboard. And her whole body's smashing into the fucking dash and the pedal wall. And so the cop's like, "Huh." So he walks over to her and starts asking her, "Well, can I see your license and registration, please? Because this is an accident. I'm going to need to fucking log it in." "Oh, I don't have my license or registration on me at the moment." "Well, you fucked up, bitch. You don't have a license or registration on you. So you're driving without your license or registration. And you just got into an accident." So the guy starts talking to her, and I kind of just ignored as soon as she said that, I was like, okay, she's just going to try and make up some fucking claim. She's just going to make up some fucking kind of claim. Now, what happened was, during this 20-minute lull before the cops or anything came, she was texting. She texted, I guess, her boyfriend or baby daddy, because he came with 2 kids, an elderly woman, and another guy. And they parked right on the sidewalk. And when they got out, at this time, the bakery foreman and the other truck and the other workers were already offloading the truck. The guy immediately starts screaming, saying, "Oh my God, you broke my babe's fucking legs. I'm going to fucking shoot you. I'm going to kill you." And the fucking foreman shut him up instantly when he's like, "Oh, just shut the fuck up." And that was it. The foreman said 2 things while this guy kept ranting and raving for like 3-4 minutes. And all the foreman did was just say, "Shut the fuck up," twice. Guy was silent. And then they grabbed shit out of the fucking car. They opened up the trunk, threw it into the car, left her and the other guy. Not the guy who was screaming and threatening the fucking other two. No. But this other dude, I guess, that went with them with the car ride, he stayed with her. And so he's trying to explain, like, oh, hey, like, this isn't her fault. She told us that she was coming home or some shit like that. And that's when she got into an accident. The foreman's telling the cops, hey, like, we're like, the reason why we have this truck here and the reason why there's no load on the truck is because we just took it off because we're on a tight schedule to get this shit delivered. So he called us. We told him if the fucking goods are still safe and still servable, we're gonna pick them up and offload them. Cops are like, that's fine, we understand. They interview the driver. Driver tells them what was going on. And the cops are like, well, yeah, I can kind of see where you're not at fault, considering that she T-boned you when you're on a one-way. And with the amount of damage that we're seeing here, it don't look like it was just some minor inconvenience. She was moving some. So they give her a breathalyzer test. They make her do the whole 9 yards, testing her to see if she's fucking coherent. But they're still fucking annoyed that she does not have a license and registration. And so once the fucking bakery truck was loaded, that left. Cops allowed that one the backup bakery truck to fucking leave. Two tow trucks came. One of them fucking pulled they had to pull and lift the fucking truck off of the fucking car. That's how pushed in she was into the undercarriage of the trailer. And truck was fairly fine. Barely any fucking damage. Just a dent the size of the fucking width of the hood of her car and windshield. That's it. That's all the damage it got. Her car, though, is completely fucking totaled. They had to throw down. They had the fire truck, the firefighters throwing down all kinds of fucking shit to soak up all the fluids, so it didn't cause an explosion or fire. And they arrested her because her story was now becoming inconsistent. Because the guy that was with her told them that she was coming home. She told him a different story. And so when the cop told her, well, weren't you going to see your family? She's like, no. And they're like, then, well, how fast were you going when you were driving? She wouldn't answer. The guy the guy that was driving told them I looked for a good 15, 20 seconds to make sure both sides of the road were clear twice. And then out of nowhere, she came barreling down the fucking road. She had to have been going at least 80 miles per hour, officer. She told them that she wasn't going that fast and she was going below the speed limit. After multiple times of the cops telling her, like, how fast do you think you were going? Below the speed limit. The speed limit here around here is 30 miles per hour. It's either 25 or 30. So what you're telling me is you struck this truck, at around 25 or 20 miles per hour because you were below the speed limit? So much so that you were able to crimple and bend a fucking engine block? The force of you hitting was enough to rip the hood and the bumper and the light fixtures, the front light fixtures, off your car and have them go flying 20 feet? You pushed the whole hood of your the whole engine got pushed back, cracked your fucking windshield, pushed the fucking the engine block through the dash, and lodged you from the tip of your hood all the way to the fucking windshield base under this trailer to the point that it was lifting the trailer. Just 20 to 25 miles per hour. Kind of suspicious. Kind of suspicious, man. So they arrested her. And that was that. And for the longest time, there was big fucking big stains all over the fucking intersection from her car leaking. Like all the leaking of the car. Hey. Actually going to try and find the bakery. Because maybe they'll have let's see, bakery. No, not that. More places, please. Open up Google Maps. Donut sounds amazing right now, but I don't have any. Okay, I'll just zoom into the map because I know where the fuck it is. Okay. Zoom in. Okay, that's the name of the place. Accident. Let's see if they have it. That's Des Moines. I don't. That's a Des Moines crash. Fuck off, man. I want to see if there's an accident report. Hey, let's try it this way. 'Cause apparently, it's a space capital M. Apparently, they just have one word. Well, 4 days ago, they have Chris's accident in the news. Let's see. What's the name of my? What's the name? Okay, yeah, that's the name of the street. Let's see if because if I put in my street, the street accident. Well, apparently, not too long ago, there was a police surveillance operation on the street that I'm on. That's lovely. Okay. Bring me to the South Coast today, please. Task force to determine final destination of park fees. purchase of a 107-year-old mill could spark investment in South End. Removal underway. Police seized 84 grams of fentanyl, 17 bags of marijuana during morning search. Seizure of about $6,000 worth of fentanyl, according to Sandy Quadros Boles, a spokesperson for the department. A Holocaust survivor came here to enlighten students as to what happened in Germany during World War II. What? Apparently, we're breaking new ground with having the park. Former city man wanted by FBI. Dead. The FBI has released updated wanted photos that seeks the public's help in locating Donald Eugene Webb, last known to have lived in the city for the killing of a Pennsylvania police chief 27 years ago, authorities said. The enforcement agency is offering a reward of up to $100,000. I really need to become a bounty hunter. This sounds like fucking. This sounds like a fucking. It sounds like Gotham City. Let's see. Four injured, driver charged in crash. A city man was charged Tuesday night after operating under the influence of drugs. After a two-car accident that sent 4 people to the hospital, police said a car driven by 25-year-old Chris, won't drop his fucking middle or last name, of the town that I used to live in, crashed into the rear end of another car. Wasn't the rear end. Was not the rear end. I saw the fucking report. At Toby and the Avenue in the North End. Oh. State officials called new business park at Whaling Golf Course a no-brainer. Morning is the planned morning for mosquito spraying, apparently. 2 men now face murder charges in shooting. Let's see. Police investigating reported armed robbery at DNS Minimart. Lovely. Okay. Open up, load that article, please. I needs to see it. Chris's car, which was traveling north, pushed the vehicle in front of him 233 feet, he said. Operated by a 59-year-old woman and a passenger, her 24-year-old son. They were both from Fall River, were transported to the hospital with minor injuries. Both Chris and a female passenger in his car were also hospitalized for minor injuries. Based on his appearance tonight, Chris was charged with operating under the influence of drugs and negligent operation of a motor vehicle. Chris was treated at the hospital, released, and then taken to the police headquarters and charged. Oh, don't pity him. I do not pity him. Oh, hey, there's a... Oh, I missed it. I fucking missed it. There was an annual live history program for World War II reenactment and way down south of the bay. I would have loved that. I'm going to assume that I am back now. In case. Let's see. History comes alive. Whoa, 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 whoa. That does not look like a German. That is a sexy fucking M34. There's some U.S. soldiers they took pictures of. Let's see. Reenactors representing American, British, Canadian, German soldiers will provide a live history camp outside of batteries. Fort. The event depicts military life for both the Allied and Axis military during around 1944. Oh. I really want to get into reenactments like that. It's why I like playing Airsoft. Most of the time when we're doing Airsoft or playing it on fields, it's usually fucking Vietnam era. And some places, and it's kind of a shame that don't do this more. Most of the fucking time, they won't actually decorate, is the best word I can put. They don't decorate it. So when you go to some fields, it's just that there's some fucking pallets stood up, some maybe a truck or some fucking plywood boxes with like windows cut out with a fucking entrance, maybe a few pieces of plywood here and there on pallets, or like some logs stacked up, but that's about it. Just a little, just basic cover. And then there's some fields that go all out, where like there's one place I want to go to in Florida. They have a full one-to-one aspect of a Vietnam forward outpost or forward base of operations. And it has dugout trenches. It has sandbag defenses. It has watchtowers with actual watchtower lights. It has dugouts, latrine basins, barracks. They have tents set up, so you can literally spend the whole day and night there, and into the next day, if you want to. You can essentially live on the base for a day or two to play Airsoft for certain missions and certain certain events they're doing. They have when you're going to play the game, it's a full on it's not a just run around and shoot people like deathmatch. It's not like that. They actually do objectives. So you're actually given goals besides kill everybody until time is up. And so I was watching some videos. They have a fucking armored personnel carrier from the Vietnam War era. And you walk inside, they have the designated leaders, which are all voted on, who's going to be leader and who's not. And all the leaders are put into the armored personnel carrier, and they are briefed by somebody who is dressed in full military regalia. And they are told their mission, and they are given maps and coordinates to follow with a compass. And it's like, this is that, this is this. Radio in when you get this. And a lot of the places and a lot of the fucking equipment they give you to borrow for these missions are actual Vietnam era radio equipment. And so you'll have the fucking radio. You'll have a radio guy with you. You'll have fucking spotters with you. You have a squad of men. You'll have a fire team. And it's like, oh hey, we had a fucking chopper go down. The VC were fired fucking anti-air rockets and struck it. We need you to try and go reach the fucking. We need the last known coordinates. We're here. Go to this position. Look for the plane wreckage, the chopper wreckage if you can, and see if there's a survivor. See if the pilot's there. If the pilot's there, retrieve him and bring him back to base. And they will go out into the fucking wood, into the jungle. Is a tropical location, and the area that this base is set up in is nothing but tropical. There are very few normal fucking trees like the ones we see around here in fucking New England. The actual game wardens go out and fucking put shit in the woods, in the bush, and they have actual down choppers and vehicles just strewn about the field, and the field's massive. And so in one video, they were told to go rescue a chopper pilot. He was trying to carry supplies to help reinforce the base, the forward operation base, and there's a dummy. There's a dummy that's fully clothed in a pilot's outfit, helmet and all, gloves, boots, whole 9 yards, sitting in the fuselage, right in his pilot seat. And after like a half hour, 45 minutes of cautiously moving through the bush, the fire team discovers, hey, there's the pilot. He's still there. And I forgot how they designated whether he was alive or not, but basically he was deemed alive. So what did they have to do? The guy had one of the main players. Now there's 6 fire teams on either team, and each fire team has 4 to 5 guys, because usually you count like the leader kind of out. So you got 4 to 5 guys on a fire team. So that's between 25 and 30 guys on either team, maybe even more, because I believe there were people at the bases themselves that were there for reinforcements. So if somebody was pinned down and the other fire teams couldn't help them, they would send in the reinforcements via Jeep. And so what's one of the guys do on the fire team? He slings his fucking rifle, throws it on his back with all the rest of his gear. Most of the people that play are dressed in full Vietnam gear. Throws his fucking Car 15 over his shoulder, grabs the fucking pilot and throws him over his shoulder, pulls out his fucking M1911, and that's all he's using. And they all fucking started hustling back to the base, and the VC come out of nowhere when they start, because they decided, hey, let's cross an open field instead of taking our time going through here. We got to get this guy to get a medical attention for this guy. We have a set amount of time to get him back before he's deemed dead. Let's cut through the fucking open field. Let's just cut through the rice paddies, guys. And so they cut through the fucking rice paddies, and out of fucking nowhere, a VC fucking battalion just spots them and starts opening fire. And so they were pinned down, fighting for their fucking lives. Like, I love that kind of fucking... I love that shit about airsoft. I do. I fucking like that. It's very visceral. I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun having objectives instead of just like paintball. Everybody who's ever played paintball does not do objectives besides capture the flag. That's it. Like, exactly. Like, a lot of airsoft players that I've met are into military simulation or milsim. And so a lot of them play in fields, or they do games where it is as close to the real thing as possible. And a lot of the milsim players are ex-military. Former military are former or current military personnel. And so it's a way for them to keep their fucking military training honed, because they can do that. And there's a lot of people that aren't from the military that know all the stuff they have to do just from playing in the games. just from reading up on it, fucking learning from people that they know that are in the military. And so it just, it forms it shows the amazing humans when you have people from all walks of life. I've seen players who are like 300 pounds, big fat guys. I've seen people who are like 14, 15 years old. And they're not like the COD players or the COD fags, as some people in the airsoft community call them. I've seen fucking 60-year-olds playing this game, playing in airsoft. We got all walks of life going on in airsoft. And when there's a milsim game going, all of them work together. They all know their mission. They all know their part. They're all talking. They're all bringing up points, debating whether to do this or that. They're all working together fluidly 95% of the time. And I say 95% of the time because there's always that guy. There's at least one that guy who will just not want to be a team player. But it shows the amazing ability of teamwork in humanity. You just got random people thrown, like they're all thrown into their own into a random team. They're told, you got to do this. This is where you have to be. This is how far you have to go. Do it. And that fucking team will move as one. Like there was one time, oh Christ, this is going back to like 2011. Because 2011 was when I started playing a lot of airsoft a lot of the time. God, I forgot where it is now. There's an abandoned, it's either an abandoned warehouse or it's an abandoned mall somewhere around here. And if not, then it was in North Carolina. There's an abandoned army base. It's either an abandoned army base, mall, or whatever. It was basically just a big fuck off building. It was like it had to have been a mall of some kind, because there was no way a military base would have the amount of floors that this place had, with as much spacious room. And me, my brother, and his friends, we all drove down. I had gotten all the fucking equipment I needed. I had an M16, Vietnam era M16. I had my Vietnam era equipment with me. I had bought my brother a pair of Vietnam fatigues, from fucking the cap to the shirt to the fucking undershirt, pants, belts, everything he needed. I dropped like $500 on him getting authentic military surplus gear that was around the Vietnam era. And I even got patches for everybody. Some of the guys bought their own fatigues, like tiger stripe Vietnam era clothing. Some of them got boonie caps and shit like that. Some of them just wore t-shirts, like junk t-shirts that were just camouflaged or green. But they just grabbed the stuff that they wanted, and they were like, well, I'm probably just going to grab a pair of cargo pants that I don't wear anymore that are green or gray. And that was fine. And they'd wear boots. But most of the guys that me and my brother played with actually tried to go for the authentic military shit. And so the guys who got the fatigues, I was like, well, here, have a patch. And I gave everybody a patch because it was only like $1 a patch. And so we had patches on our, so everybody, it was it's the MACV SOG logo with the skull, with the beret, with the blood coming out of its fangs, which is, you know, the search and operations group, quote unquote. Even though it's not search and operations, it's search and destroy. We all had MACV SOG patches. I think I was the only one that had multiple patches. I had, oh God, I was Airborne Special Forces. I had the arrowhead with the 3 thunderbolts on the dagger with Airborne on it. all colored, because I believe, because like patch history in Vietnam is kind of weird because some people were making their own patches, but I believe the airborne special forces patches were not colored green and black yet at the time. They weren't colored for camouflage, especially in the era that I was going for, which was 68 to 69. And so I had the standard, I believe I was 101st Airborne, Special, 101st Airborne Special Operations Division. So I had that whole patch on my left side. And then on the right side, I had my MACV SOG badge, or it was on my, it was on my right shoulder. And then I had my name tag on my right breast, and then I had my division of the military that I was in. So that was mine. And I had a bucket. I had a brain bucket. Bought my brother a brain bucket, and all the equipment. So we go down there, and now there was about 6 or 7 of us, just chilling out at this fucking place, ready to play airsoft. I brought all the guns. I had more than enough guns for everybody. Some of them brought their own that they had bought. I had enough magazines for everybody because I just have a fuck ton of magazines just in case. And I had brought ammunition because one of the cool things about a lot of airsoft fields that I've played at, you can just bring your own ammo. You can't do that with paintball. That's the main haul of bringing in the money for a paintball field is the ammunition. Renting out, like most paintball fields will just rent out Tipman 95s. And the Tipman 95s are just beat up fucking pieces of shit. But it's the paintball where they get the fucking real money. Like, I think it was like 200, the one and only time I actually played on a field for paintball. I think it was like $200 for like 100 paintballs or 200 paintballs. So that's like $1 a ball. That's insane. Like, you can buy 5,000 BB airsoft pellets or BBs, plastic BBs, for like $20. 5,000 of them. Most guns hold, like most high capacity magazines hold like 300 rounds. Like the Vietnam era 20 round Stenag mags for my M16, 90 BBs inside. That's a high capacity for them. And then the 30 round Stenag magazines hold 380 BBs. What they get their money is from renting guns or selling guns. That's the other thing. They sell equipment on site. You can buy airsoft magazines, airsoft guns, airsoft attachments for the guns, like scopes, silencers, or suppressors, magazine clips, so you can have a double stack, whole 9 yards. Paintball fields do the same thing, but it's vastly more fucking expensive to do a lot of the shit for paintball than it is airsoft. There's some insane guns for airsoft, though. There's some guns that I've seen that go for $1,200. Like, I think it was the Intervention. This is a Call of Duty gun. The Intervention sniper rifle. It's one of the most hideous fucking sniper rifles I have ever seen in my life. Each one that I've seen on the market goes for about $1,000 at least. But the L96 or the M28, like the U.S. military issued M28 sniper rifle, goes for about $200. Like a cheapo version of the M28 can go for like $100. It's shit, but it's serviceable. You can modify it. But like an average good decent airsoft gun runs between $200 to $400. That's how much the average one is. The Car 15 I showed off, that one was around $300. But the reason why it was around $300 is it's full steel. Everything that's metal on the gun, that on the real gun, is metal on that one. It's a vintage collector because it's a fairly fucking obscure weapon. Not everybody uses them. It had the loadout that I had put into the fucking gun where I think the guts in it just base are fucking highly fucking decent. And it also came with fucking just unique stuff on it. The fixed stock. The fixed handguard carry handle. That's fixed. It's not, doesn't have Picatinny rails. You can't take that off and put a scope on. You got to put it right on the carry handle. The telescopic, it has a spring-loaded telescopic stock, and it's a 2-point stock. That's not something that fucking other guns, airsoft guns have. It's a Vietnam era forward handguard. There's only a few versions of Vietnam era M16s on the market. So there's a lot of things about that gun that make it a little bit more expensive than normal. You can get an M16, like a normal modern day, like M16A3 or an M4 carbine, just dirt cheap. You can spend $200 for an okay, decent airsoft gun for those. Same with AK-47s. Those are the most generic fucking guns you will see everybody using. M4s and AK-47s. You will rarely see someone use, like a BAR on the market will run you about $300-400, but that's because it's an incredibly rare gun. It's not used that often in the fucking in the airsoft community, and it has full steel. It's fully steel, and it has walnut. I think the original gun had walnut wood handguard and stock, and the gun comes with walnut or cherry handguard and stock, just like the original gun. It actually has these. That's another thing. My gun's expensive because it actually has the accurate stamping on the side, showcasing that it was made at Colt Armory, with the fucking address and everything, the serial numbers, everything that would be on an actual, like the actual gun itself. The same thing applies for Thompsons and BARs. My Thompson actually has the stamping that the actual M1A1 Thompsons had during World War II, where it was made at Springfield Armories. So that's another thing that ups the price on some guns. But like, they're like, you could go into an airsoft field and just buy a gun and just blam. Actually, let me check my gun because I think it actually says it's from Hartford. All right. I keep forgetting how heavy this fucking thing is. Property of the U.S. government, M16A1, caliber 5.56 millimeter, serial number 190520, Colts Firearms Division, Colts Industries, Hartford, Connecticut, United States, USA. And then right above that, and I actually got to find a way to fucking get rid of it, is made in Hong Kong. And that's another thing. Certain countries that make guns make them more expensive because of the quality. Taiwan, if I remember correctly, because it's been a while. I forget if Taiwan or Japan is now #1 in production. I know for a long time Taiwan was the best. Any gun from Taiwan was vastly more fucking expensive and insanely high quality. Like, it is insane. I remember seeing I think it's a Model 86 trench shotgun from around the World War I era with the heat grill on top. And I think there's a Taiwanese company that does retro World War II, World War I era guns. And that shotgun was going for about $800. Because apparently what they do with those guns is on some of the weapons, because there's such a mass surplus of that weapon, they actually just shell the fucking actual gun out, and then they just put airsoft guts inside. So when you buy this gun, you're literally buying an actual weapon that has been modified to fire BBs instead of bullets. Apparently, you can get a tour of the Hartford Colt Factory, even going to the Onion Dome. Oh! Well, I'll have to go there sometime. I would love to check out the Colt Factory. I know, oh God, this is going back 2 years. I think it was 2 years ago. Fucking Sammy was telling me that Colt was going to be selling, for a limited time run, Car 15s, which is the model of gun that I actually like. I absolutely love. It's my favorite Vietnam era rifle. It's why I bought that fucking thing. But apparently they were going to be going for like $2,000 or $3,000 for the fucking rifles, and they were only going to make like 1,000 of them. Oh wow, that's pretty neat. But oh, that's right. I went on a mass tangent, like I always do. So we get to the field, we unload everything, we go there, we pay for the fucking our pass to play on the field, which is a day pass. And we are kind of in awe at how massive this fucking place is. Like, there's been times, even to this day, where I'll be walking through like a mall or something, and I'll be like, this would be an awesome fucking place to play airsoft. Like, you don't know how many times I have wanted to go to a mall or somewhere and just fight. Just have at least a couple hundred guys with airsoft guns at each other. It'd be amazing. I love urban combat. Like, don't get me wrong, I love outdoors. I do. I love the outdoorsy thing, and I'll actually bring up one of the games that shows just how good I am at hiding in the woods and surviving in the woods after this one. But there's something visceral and adrenaline pumping about urban combat, especially where just everyday places where people are at, like a mall. There's something visceral about that. Like, it's something that you don't see in a war that often, or in war movies, a mall. But you'll see like, a smoky city block that's been bombed, and the building debris is falling, and there's debris everywhere, and tanks are moving through the city streets and stuff. That's a common thing. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's not as visceral as like a fighting in a school, like an abandoned school, or a fucking the asylums, mental wards. That's another place that they hold fucking shit like that. Abandoned military outposts and forts. That's really cool. And then there's city malls and shit like that. Whole neighborhoods, like whole nuclear family, like neighborhoods that they had made during the 50s, during the baby boom. Like, some of those are just abandoned. Then there's oh god, I forgot I think it's Moldtown or whatever, out west in Nevada or California. There's like a town that's just completely abandoned, and squatters now live there, and hobos. Like, there's cities like that out in the west where they just built it up and it's just decayed, and it's in the middle of the desert. I would totally fucking pay somebody to make me a Vault 101 outfit. or a Vault 13 outfit and modify, and I would pay for an airsoft guns so I could have fucking like Fallout era weapons. I would totally fucking either that or cosplay as Mad fucking Max, and I would buy a sawn-off shotgun. Exactly. There's a lot. Nah, Vault 11. Yeah. Vault 1, maybe Vault 111 if there was like, maybe if, because there's I believe there's a abandoned nuclear sites here in Mass. Because I was looking at fucking abandoned areas here in Mass for a friend of mine, and apparently there's a nuclear test facility or a place that would house like a bunker for top brass that were here in like New England or just Massachusetts. And that'd be, I'd probably do Vault 111 or Vault 111. If I did a desert one, I'd have to be either Vault 13 or I'd have to be Mad fucking Max. I would totally rock Mad Max's outfit. But like, we were just kind of in awe at how big this mall was. And so we get all our equipment. I load up. I have 3 guns because the rules for the site were the maximum weapons that somebody can have was 3 guns. You can't dual wield unless it's 2 pistols or 2 submachine guns. And they have varying degrees of what classifies as a submachine gun or a machine pistol. So you can't run around with like, I don't know, 2 MP5s. You can't run around with 2 MP5s dual wielding them. Well, you could do that with an MP7 or an MP9. 2 Berettas. Two Berettas, 2 fucking M1911s, two fucking revolvers. Those will work. You can't have like a sawn-off shotgun in one hand and a fucking rifle in the other. But I believe you could have a sawn-off shotgun in one hand and a pistol because both of them are classified as small arms. So stuff like that would apply. So I had my Vietnam era M16, my Vietnam era M1911 in its holster as my sidearm, and I believe I had my collapsible shotgun. So the stock went under the gun instead of like the one I have now where it goes on top of the gun. This one just swung underneath it. And that one was slung hooked to my backpack because I have an Alice type military backpack. So that one was just strapped into a fucking sheath that I had for it, or scabbard. So I had my shotgun slug belt. So all my shotgun slugs were around my fucking waist. I had all my M16 magazines are on that fucking web pouch that you saw that I showcased last time. And then I had my Vietnam era fucking M1911 magazine pouches. That was my equipment. My brother was going for the same kind of thing, so he had, I believe, an AK-47, or he had an M4, and he had a shotgun to buy a pistol. His friend Gunnar, I think, had a sniper rifle, and our roommate at the time, Mark, was going to be using my M249 saw. He was going to be the weapon. He was going to be the heavy weapons guy, or the support unit. Then we had one of his friends be medic, because all of us always played together on the same team. So we had one medic, we had a heavy support, we had a sniper, we had a couple assault guys, and we had a few grenadiers. And so that was it. We were ready. Well, we got lumped in with about 40 other dudes. So it was a 50-on-50 match. And the goal was simple. Place a bomb in the enemy base. And if you do get shot and you die, the bomb stays exactly where it stays until somebody is able to another teammate can pick it up. You can pick it up, but only if you're not dead, because it's a 2-hit system. So when you get hit first, you raise your hand, you yell hit, you call out your hit, and then the medic runs over, ties off a white rag around your fucking arm. Doesn't matter where, as long as the other players and the game wardens can see that, hey, he's been counted as hit. That's his first casualty. So once that happens, then you're able to pick up the bomb again. But if you're shot a second time and you're considered dead finally, you walk back to base, and that's where you stay. So you have two lives. You have 2 lives this entire match. And some matches can go for a long fucking time, which kind of sucks, which means a lot of people usually try not to be fucking idiots. Well, there's me, my brother, and like his 5 or 6 friends with us. We all work as a team. Then we have 40-something other guys. We have COD fans who are just running. They have fucking foam knives and foam axes because they're just going to run around trying to get knife kills. And they have a pistol. Then you have some heavy-duty milsim players like me and my brother. And then you have just normal people. Just normal people. Some of them are parents with their teenagers playing. Some of them are fucking parents with their kids, which I'm against having kids playing because there's a lot of fucking risks to playing airsoft. Same with paintball. But it's a hodgepodge. It's a fucking hodgepodge of fucking players, and it's just meh. I'm not feeling it, and I'm thinking we've already lost the game. We've already lost the game with the team loadout we have. So my brother walks up to me and he's like, "So what do you think we should do?" And I'm like, "Well, we've never been here, so I don't know how fucking far we have to go to get this bomb to the other side. I don't know the strategic areas at all. So if we hunker down somewhere, we may get ambushed and outflanked. And there's a lot of murder holes. There's a lot of blind spots. Because there's a lot of angled hallways and shit while we were walking into the center of the mall. And even in the center of the mall, there are pillars and columns and fucking just walls will go completely straight, but then they'll be at like a 45-degree angle, and that'll be the corner of a store, and then just open space to where the straight wall is, but then that 45-degree angle where it just goes diagonal, that goes with the main first floor of the plaza as it goes through, because this whole plaza area was just one big open space. You could have probably 20 people side by side before you touch the middle of the area, where like that's where all the kiosk stands and like the fountains and shit and like all the seating and shit, where they put like the shrubbery and shit with the park benches where people can sit down and rest while they're shopping. Like you could have 20 people standing shoulder to shoulder on just one side of that. I would say like a lane. There's 2 lanes to this fucking place. That's how big the fucking first floor area is, and that's just walking from one entrance of the parking lot, going through the mall, all the way to the other side, and it branched off in a kind of like a Y shape, like a weird Y shape. And so I was telling my brother and the rest of the guys, I was like, there's just too many open spots, too many fucking blind spots we can't keep an eye on, and I don't know where the fuck we have to go. Like the game warden that told us like the objective and gave us the suitcase, which was the bomb. Oh my god, a bomb! But he just told us it's that way. And he just pointed to the opposite fucking direction of the goddamn place. So that meant either some of the people here knew where the fuck the enemy base was, or they just rotated it so you never knew where the fuck to go, which meant you'd have to search for it. So I'm like, I honestly don't know. I say we bunker down. We play it safe and we bunker down somewhere. That's the best we can do. We're gonna have to find the best place that we can hold out in that's suitable for our needs, and that's it. Just wait it out. So my brother was like, all right, sounds like a plan. Apparently, some of the Milsim guys heard my brother talking to the rest of the guys and telling them what our plan was, and they asked if they could join us because they knew that because my brother was telling them how I felt about the team makeup of having a bunch of kids and COD fans and a bunch of parents that didn't look like they knew how to fucking play because a lot of them were just wearing like normal band T-shirts, fucking cargo pants with their socks just sticking out of their shoes. Some of them were wearing sandals. None of them were like, and they were using the field given like masks, paintball masks to protect them, and they were all using rented like crappy guns. So basically, they are like they were noobs. That's the best way I could describe them. Were noobs. And so the Milsim guys were like, hey, like we don't want to be stuck with these guys. They're probably all going to get shot. Like they probably don't know what the fuck to do. Can we just roll with you guys? So my brother's like, well, you're gonna have to ask my brother. So they come up to me and they ask me, okay, can we roll with you guys? Like your brother was talking to one of your friends or one of your brothers or whatever, and telling them how like the rest of the team is just a bunch of crap. We kind of agree. Sports seriously. Can we join you? And I was like, yeah, we're just going to find a fucking place and bunker down. And thankfully, one of the guys, and I forget his name, I think it was Tom or Terry or something. It began with a T, I know that. He had played at this place before. And he only lived about 20 miles or 30 miles away from the place. And he's like, well, I've been here. So I know a few spots that are actually pretty good to hold up in. I'm like, awesome. You'll lead us to the spot, and we're just going to bunker down, and we're just going to wait. We'll bring the bomb with us. And him and I guess his friends were all the Milsim guys. They kind of didn't want to bring the bomb. Because they were like, well, if we bring the bomb and the other team knows that nobody else on the team is carrying the bomb, they're going to look for us. And when they find out that we're held up in some spot in one of the shops, then it's on. They're going to immediately try and just immediately try and take us out. They're not even going to worry about trying to take their bomb to the base. I was like, all right, well, I'm still going to take the bomb because if you know where the place is, you might know where their base is. And he's like, well, sometimes they like to swap it up. And I was like, well, you saw the game warden and he pointed that way. How many places would the base be that way? And he's like, well, it might be at the Cinnabon. The Cinnabon, it might be at the fucking, oh God, cafeteria? God, I can't remember the food court. That's it. Thank God my brain fucking remembers the term for a fucking place where a lot of food places are. He says it's either at the food court in the mall or it might be in one of the shops around the food court. Because the food court was gloriously badass. This food court had, I guess, a play area. Like 2 play areas and arcade cabinets in the middle dispersed about in the middle of this food court with tables and chairs everywhere. And all these tables and chairs are thrown all over the fucking place. Ahead of myself. That was just badass fucking seeing that for the first time. We get to we start moving out. And so there's about, I'd say, 15, 16 of us. Yeah, I'd say about 15, 16 of us are moving through, and we're all doing the standard. Well, I think the place that we had was, I think the place that we were at was 2 or 3 stories in some. It had to have been 3 stories in some places because it was way too high. But a 4-floor mall with an amusement park in the food court, sign me up. I would totally play in that place. That'd be awesome. And so we started moving, and we were pretty much following standard SWAT procedure or military procedure. We were keeping our eyes close, but not too close. We were keeping our eyes all around. We had 2 guys keeping tabs on the upper floors. We were fucking clearing rooms, clearing stores, making sure nobody had gotten in there by the time we'd gotten there. And there were some access hallways that we were allowed to enter in from what this dude was telling me. And so he told us the fastest way that we could get from point A to point B, which is the area he told us would probably be the best place to hold up, was to go through some of the service areas. And I was like, all right. That's when my brother's friend, Mark, who's the medic, chimed in. And he's like, hey, there's a bunch of kids following us. And I look, and sure enough, there's like 5 kids between the ages of like 10 and 14. And they're all trying to be sneaky and fucking being all badasses and jumping over fucking the shattered windows and stuff because the whole place is fucking trashed. Just jumping around, fucking trying to make a fucking force of like, yeah, we're all badass like you guys too. And I'm like, oh fucking Christ. And one of them has a fucking foam axe stuck on his shirt, like right on his back, strapped. So that means that motherfucker's going to try and run up and hit someone with an axe. And if he hits somebody with an axe or a knife, that's considered a kill. Which means that person's going to have to get a bandage or a rag wrapped around him. And then if he gets hit again by that axe, he's dead. You're going to try and go in for knife kills, essentially. So I'm like, just let them follow us. They'll probably be cannon fodder. They're probably going to get shot. They're probably going to get tired of how we're playing, and they'll just leave us alone. So Mark's like, okay. So we start making our way through the service area, which was pretty creepy, I will admit, because we were walking through an area where they had like elevators, and it had glass elevator casings for where the elevators are coming up, and there weren't any elevators up at that point, so we could just see the elevator shafts with the heavy fucking plexiglass casing for the door area. So those would open up along with the fucking the elevator doors apparently, and the whole place is just in shambles. You got the fucking the particle board or whatever fucking ceiling squares tiles. Some of those are knocked down. You have we could see like the cables. There's fucking piping coming out because this is a service access area. Pretty creepy. I liked it. Added to the tension. So we go through we probably walked for about, I'd say 40 minutes at least. That's how long this fucking mall was and how cautious we were trying to get through the mall. We finally get out of the service areas. And now we're in a hallway where there's no lighting. But we can see the light at the end where, like, the fucking skyline for the main entrance of the fucking place is. So we start creeping our way through. And as soon as we do, we immediately hear the sound of footsteps. And it's not from the group that we're a part of. They're coming from everywhere. And so my brother, me, a couple of the guys that decided to join us, and I think 1 or 2 of the kids decided to crawl up because we were on the 2nd story at this point. We decided to crawl on our stomachs across the floor to see over the lip to see what the fuck was going on. And there's just like fucking ants. We just see all 50 of these fuckers just roaming like they're looking for us, just roaming through the main plaza on the 1st floor, and a couple are on the second floor across from us on the other side of the balcony. And there's some of them way down the hallway on the left of us, and there's some of them way down just standing there guarding something on the right of us. So we're like, fuck. We have taken this shortcut, and we have just walked in on the entire posse moving. Like, none of these guys are, like, these guys are just going to hunt us down and kill us. And it's like, what do we do now? So we crawl backwards because we don't want to be spotted. And I asked the guy, well, what do we do now? He's like, well, we'll just have to sit and wait. And I'm like, all right, sounds like a plan. We'll just bunker down in this dark hallway next to the service access, and we'll keep that door open. So we keep the door open, and we have, I think it was Mark. No, Mark wasn't medic, I don't believe. I think I said he was fucking support. He had the saw. So he just laid down, he opened up the bipod on it, sat it down, closed up the, loaded a fucking drum into it, plugged it in, and he just kept it silent. Because the thing about the drum mags for a saw is they're auto wind. They run off of 2 or 4 AA batteries. And there's 3 settings for it. There's auto wind, which means you keep hearing the sound of a motor auto winding the BBs into the gun. Then there's the off setting, and then the third setting, or the second setting for actual winding, is trigger pull. So when he would pull, if he pulled the trigger, then the gun would start auto winding, and you'd hear that fucking god awful ratchet of a sound. And so he just had it on trigger pull. So if he saw somebody coming down the hallway and he knew that they knew that he was down there, then he'd open fire. And I think it was one of the other guys or one of the kids was keeping watch with him. And so we just sat there and sat there and sat there. And apparently the kid got a little bored of just sitting there waiting. He wanted to actually shoot somebody. So he started scurrying out. And that's when we hear hit. And we're like, well, fuck. Because most of us had brought junk food and shit to eat. Something light to eat while we're sitting waiting. In case we got bunkered down and there was a lull between firefights or just fighting. So we were just sitting there eating Slim Jims and fucking trail mix and drinking drinks and stuff like that. And that's when we hear hit. So Mark is terrified because I'm sitting next to the door with him and I've got my gun with me, loaded and ready. And his face just goes pale. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And he's like, kid just fucking got up and walked down there all sneaky like, and he got fucking shot. So he's hit. Now he's calling for a medic. I'm like, oh, fucking great. Fucking great. And what makes it worse is the kid's like, what are you waiting for? Come over here. Come on. What are you doing? Get over here. Just telling the fucking person who just shot him or the people who are standing there like, fucking tag me back into the game. Meaning, away our position. Oh, fuck off. You hear this kid yelling. Just pick the gun up. We're going to move. We have to move. Because they're going to come down this hallway, and I don't want to try and fucking hold them off in this service hallway. Because they'll probably throw grenades in. All right. So he picks it up, fucking he keeps the fucking drum on, thankfully. He closes the fucking shoulder brace on the fucking buttstock closed, and he closes the bipods up. And he takes the carry hand. He he shifts the positions the carry handle again back upright so he can hold it while he has it on a sling. And he walks in, and we close the door. And I was like, all right, you two kids, because that's your friend, you stay at this door. If you want to go out and help your friend and tag him back in, tag him back in. But if you want to help us, stay at this door. If somebody opens this door and they don't have an orange shirt on or an orange jacket, they're not just shoot them on sight. Because the game wardens wear big orange or yellow fucking safety jackets to showcase, hey, I'm a game warden. I'm just making sure I'm keeping an eye on people, see if there's any cheaters. And so they'll usually just do patrols around the field to see if everybody's like safe and if anybody's injured and stuff like that. So they'll probably check the service thing to see like, hey, is anybody hurt? Or, oh, hey, there's players here. All right. And so the two kids say, sure. I'm like, good. Got rid of those two kids. Now we only have one. So we start walking down, and I asked the guy, like, do you know of any other places we can hold out that aren't over there? He's like, well, that way leads to the food court, and that's the closest we can probably get. And as we're walking through the area, and we exit out of the fucking service access point, and we're walking down the hallways again, and cutting through fucking stores, we hear firefights sporadically fucking bursting out. And they weren't coming from the fucking service area. So they were coming from somewhere below us and somewhere further down or just further away from us, which means the rest of our team has probably encountered the enemy team. And now they're having sporadic firefights all about. And so my brother and his friends decide, fuck it. We have the bomb. Let's just fight our way back. Let's just fight our way. Let's backtrack again. Let's go through this fucking service thing for a third fucking time. Hoof it back to where those two kids are and fight our way through. And just drop the bomb there. And I'm like, why? We don't know how many fucking people, like, we don't know what's going on. You weren't, like, did you not see the posse that was just wandering around? Like, just stalking fucking prey. They were looking for any fucking person to shoot. That fucking kid walked out there and immediately got shot. So that means they know that at some point, somebody's going to go down that service entrance or that service access hallway. Fuck that. But the rest of the fucking team voted to do it. So I was like, fine. What the fuck ever. We'll do it. And so everybody got ready. I told everybody, let's like take a 5-minute break. Smoke them if you got them. Drink if you need to, if you're thirsty, and eat something and drink something if you're hungry. Which reminds me, I gotta go grab a soda. So an intermission is now put in. All right. So we get back. We drink our drinks. I smoked a cigarette because I was kind of stressed out that we're just gonna wade knee deep in enemy fucking territory. But I was like, fuck it. So I loaded my shotgun, I loaded my pistol, two things I never really do. I always only use my real. I only ever use a rifle and maybe keep my pistol loaded just in case I'm bunkered down in my pistol. Like that is a last resort weapon. I always have my rifle fully loaded with at least like 10 magazines on me. At least. Let's see. 1, 2 on the tops next to where my pecs are, and then 2 on either side next to my waist. So that's 6. 9 on that fucking M16. 9. 10 in the gun. Yeah, about 12 to 13 magazines at least on me for my main rifle, and then two magazines for my pistol because it was a gas pistol at the time. That broke. But gas pistols are just they're just a nightmare for me. I just don't really like gas pistols that often. You need special type of gas, depending on the weather, red or green. I think red's for winter conditions, and green's for like any other condition that's not fucking freezing cold. Or at a certain temperature. Then you have to put the fill in the fucking nozzle, and the gas will just slowly escape over the course of time, and it depends on the temperature out there. So I've had some people tell me that like they've filled up a fucking gas magazine and they didn't use it for 2 matches, and then there's no gas in it, and they absolutely needed to use that pistol. So like me filling it up and loading it meant like this is it. This is a do or die situation. I may need it. I may empty out every fucking round I have on me. This is going to suck. So we all load up. We get all our equipment set. And I'm like, all right, this is what we'll do. I don't know how you guys play. There's about 5 or 6 of you. You guys will take the bomb. You guys will take the bomb. If not, we will take the bomb. And the guy that was helping, the guy who was our guide, was like, well, what do you mean you guys? I'm like, there's like 5 or 6 of you with the kid. That makes it 7 or 6. There's like 6 or 7 of us. We're gonna split up. Like we're all like all of my brother's friends were already saying like probably nobody else on the team is fucking alive. Like we're the other half of the fucking team. We're the other half of the team. Like, better take our chances and try and fucking kill as many as we can by splitting up instead of having the remaining half of the team against God knows how many others. Plus, we don't know how you guys play. We don't know if you guys are going to bunker down, run around, try and get knife kills. Who knows? You guys may even accidentally throw a grenade. We don't know how you play. Plus, we've played so often with each other. We know how we don't have to fucking keep coddling and keeping an eye on the people and calling them out to see if they were still in the same position. Just like you guys are probably in the same position with how you guys are all in full mil sim, and you guys have all the same patch on your team, which means you guys are probably your own team. And so the guy's like, yeah, we are. And they're like, all right, so you should understand like where we're coming from. And he's like, yeah, we do. We kind of felt the same way, but we wanted to work together. And I was like, well, we're going to be working together. We're going to be working together because we're going to be splitting up. We're going to divert forces. We're just going to move across. Smaller numbers means it's far less few amount of casualties and far less people need to fucking move. It's easier to move unseen with 7 guys than 14. There's bound to be less fuck-ups. So we all agreed to do it. We all agreed to split up. Exactly, a pincer maneuver. So now that we have agreed as to what we're doing, how we're doing it, we decide that it would be better off if my team, Black Cypress, which was our call sign, Black Cypress will move through the first floor to the main plaza, down in one of the kiosk stands, which is a big information booth. We will bunker down there, and there was a fountain with a bunch of stone built right into the fucking floor, stone chairs with like fucking big fucking garden areas with big bushes and stuff. We will bunker down near the kiosk and that. And we will hold, we will hold the line. That is going to be the Alamo. We are going to probably die there, but we are going to hold our own. Okay. Kind of sucks that we're going in on a suicide mission, but fuck it. The other team, and I forgot what their team's name was or call sign, but they were going to go on the second floor, and they were going to cut through service accesses towards the food court. And once they cut through the food court, they would plant the bomb, pull out, and if they could, once they had planted the bomb, they would then proceed back down to the plaza to where we were, and they would help reinforce us, and they would hold out until the fucking bomb went off, because there was a timer. I think it was like a 20-minute timer, so 20 minutes for the other team to plant the bomb, and if that bomb was planted, then it would be considered a tie, because you can't deactivate the bomb. So I was like, all right, sounds good. I guess we're going to be going on a suicide mission, folks. And so we decided to do it. We started moving, we started hoofing it fast as we could towards that kiosk stand. And we were ducking and bobbing and weaving as fast and as quickly and as quietly as we could through stores. And there was one point where the plan almost fucked up because there was a patrol moving through, and there's probably about 10 guys. And we just ducked into a bookstore and we hid behind all the bookshelves. And they were just shooting the shit, laughing, and having a good fucking time, just talking while smoking cigarettes, walking by. And we're all fucking huddled behind bookshelves and fucking bookcases and trying and not make a fucking sound. Guns in hand, guns in arms, fingers on the trigger, expecting the worst. And they just walked right by us. And we got up. One of us I think it was either me or my brother, went out there, checked, saw the coast was clear, and we fucking started hoofing it. So we started running and running and running as fast as we could. And finally we get to the kiosk. And we all just slide and crawl our ways in as fast, scrambling, as if the kiosk is a fucking godsend, like it's going to save us. And we're like, oh, fuck it, finally we're here. And now it's a big circle it's like a hut. If you've ever seen a kiosk at a mall, it's like a fucking hut. And the top of this fucking thing is not that good because it is high enough to where anybody on the second floor from a certain distance and a certain angle could fire right in and hit like half of us. Because the walls have like the fucking little the siding where the countertop is, there's a little fucking wall, but there's a space so you can slide like information packets and stuff like that. And a few spots are open to where the fucking actual people at the information kiosk stand in the booth. But still, at the angle and height of the second floor balcony, you could still fire and hit half. Like if there was like if people were shoulder to shoulder wrapped around the fucking interior, you could hit half of them. So it's a massive fucking. It's a fish in a barrel scenario. If there's people on both sides of this fucking place, and I'm like, okay. Mark set up the MG right here. Chris, because there's a kid named Chris, not the Chris that got into the car crash just recently. Another kid named Chris. I was like, Chris, I think he had his own saw, his own M249. I was like, you do whatever you want, buddy. Like you can fucking mount it on near the fountain or near one of the bushes or just mount it wherever you think would be a good position. Just keep it to front. He goes, all right. And I'm like, there's another kid, Mark. He's the one that brought my brother to Missouri. You set up over here. fucking Tyler, you set up over here. Jake, move here. Nick, move here. And then my brother, move here. And so we're all moving into position. I'm staying in the Alamo, which is the kiosk. That's what I've designated as the Alamo. I'm going to stay there, and I'm going to keep an eye on... Exactly. I'm going to keep an eye on the kill zone. Everybody else has moved into positions around the fountain, around all the shrubbery there, around the fucking main plaza. We're all in position. My brother and his friend Gunnar are designated facing towards where that roaming fucking band of 10 guys are at. Because we don't know if they're going to be coming back. And if they are coming back, my brother and his friend Gunnar have a clear line of sight so they can fire and shoot down as many as they can. Plus, the information kiosk is on that side. So I have a vast amount of cover. And I can just lay down suppressive fire if my brother and Gunnar are reloading. Mark as well. Now Mark is going to be my ball point gunner. He has the gun mounted on the bipod, aiming towards the second floor fucking balconies. He's going to lay suppressive fire on every fucking point. If we see a guy, I'm going to tell him where to fucking put it. He'll take that gun and he'll mount it on the fucking wall. And he'll just lay down suppressive fire to keep them from fucking poking their heads out again. That's what Mark's heavy gun's going to do. Chris's heavy gun is mounted on the other end of the fucking plaza towards the other hallway. He's got a track on it. Nick, the other kid, and the other Mark, they're going to be giving him covering fire and supporting him for any of the balconies, because he decided to crawl into bushes and just bushes, but he knew he was shot because the BBs are just going to fly through the bushes. Covering the other sides, because this is where in the road came. So there was three. It was a tri-section or a T section. And we waited. And that's when we see somebody. Hopefully the Hangout does not get killed, because Skype's disconnected and it's trying to reconnect. But I'm going to assume that I have internet. So, anyways. So we actually activate our radios, because I bought a bunch of radios. I think it was a 4-pack. So we had 4 radios. Me and my brother always had one, and then when we'd split the team up, we'd have 2 designated for them. Usually the medic, and usually one for one of the other fucking head leaders. We gave one to Chris, and we gave one to, I believe it was Nick. And so, thankfully, they weren't the stereotypical beep kind of radios where they make a fucking obnoxious noise when you call in. And so I had the volume. Well, don't worry, Sten. I'm getting to the point of the whole radio thing. We get to a point I had my volume. I always keep my volume low. Like, they would have to actively push the button to send a beep towards me to let me know, like, hey, we're trying to get to you. Because I always like to keep at least the minimum amount of sound coming from me, which is kind of a tough thing to do with BBs, because if you have high caps, it sounds like you're running around with a fucking jar of pennies. But I'm sitting there, just minding my own business. That's okay. So I hear a beep coming from my radio or my walkie-talkie. So I grab the radio and I call in. I'm like, what's up? Well, apparently Nick and Chris on the other side of the plaza are seeing somebody running. And it looks like the kid that was part of the team that went to drop off the bomb. And he was running at first, and now he's just walking around just sightseeing. Like he's just dilly-dallying about. And I'm like, all right. Tell him to stop when he gets close. And they're like, all right. We then hear fucking Chris yell out, hey, hold it. And then Nick, I guess, crawled up into the fucking bush where Chris was chilling in for his fucking machine gun nest. And he was just calling out what was going on. And he's like, all right, kid, stop. And I'm like, all right, ask him what the fuck he's doing here. And I could hear them yelling out like, did you plant the bomb? I can't hear what the kid's saying. And they're like, oh, he didn't plant the bomb. I'm like, well, where the fuck's the bomb? Boss, I'm like, let him come in. Just have him talk to you. Don't give away the rest of our fucking positions. Because the kid was just walking around aimlessly when we were role playing. So I didn't want like the other enemy team to be like, well, the kid's a fucking idiot. He's just gonna walk back to the rest of the other team because he knows where the fuck they might be. That'll give us positions and we'll just follow and tag them. Just in case. I'm very paranoid when I play airsoft. And so Chris and fucking Nick talked to the kid, and apparently the kid, they radioed in that kid just got bored. Because the rest of the team was doing exactly what we were doing, which was going in stealthily and just breach and clear. They'd kick in doors and they'd clear the room, and then they'd hold out for a while, make sure nobody's coming through, and then they breach and clear, rinse and repeat. So they were breaching and clearing. And he was like, oh, they were fucking probably about 5-10, like a 5-minute walk from the food court when I left. I'm just bored. I want to be with you guys. And I'm like, well, you can't. We've already taken up positions, and we don't want our positions being. If you want, you know what, kid? Sit here with Chris. Sit here with Chris. Because Nick radioed in, and he was like, kid wants to join up with us. He wants to shoot something or whatever. And he wants to stay with us because he doesn't want to just walk around alone and lose. I was like, well, just have him sit there with Chris in the machine gun nest. Like, he'll be covered. They won't see him. They won't know that there's two guys in there, and he can fucking fire at whoever's coming that Chris can't get. So Nick's like, all right. And so Nick went back to his position. So we're just camping, and we're waiting. And one of the game wardens starts walking up. And now I'm thinking, well, great, the match is over. They actually planted the bomb. No, the game warden comes up to us, and he's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, not much. What's wrong? He's like, oh, nothing, just checking up on you guys. Seems like nobody's planted a bomb yet. And it's been a solid at least 2 hours. It felt like 2 hours had gone by. He's like, it's been a while, and nobody's planted a bomb yet. It seems like the other team, like you teams are just polar opposites. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, they're looking for everybody. You guys are bunkering down and hiding from everybody. And I was like, well, great. He's like, yeah. Also, I just wanted to let you know, I just got radioed in. Your bomb got dropped. I'm like, fuck. I was like, I don't want to sound like a cheater, sir. But did any of my team that was carrying the bomb get away? He's like, I think maybe 2. I'm not sure. I'll have to radio it in just to make sure, but I'll keep an eye out for him. And if I see him, yeah, I'm like, thank you, Game Warden. Thank you for being our eyes in the sky. Thank you. Oh, So I radio it in and tell everybody, listen, game warden just came by, told me and my brother and Gunner at the time, because they had just come in to fucking, because they saw the game warden. We all just told everybody, hey, fucking bomb's been dropped. It's somewhere. It's somewhere. That's where it is. It's somewhere. The kids said they were 5 minutes, a 5-minute walk from the food court. Could be in the food court. Could be anywhere. Let's just bunker down and wait. Let's just bunker down and wait. So we wait, and we wait, and we wait for what seems like an hour. When we finally see the 2 other party members, 2 other teammates are coming, and they start running towards us fast they can, because I start flagging them down because they're coming from our angle. And one of the guys just keeps moving his fingers like, get down. And I'm wondering, like, get down? What? Because it's been so long since I had actually been in fucking a combat situation, I totally forgot. It just totally spaced out that maybe there's a fucking horde after him. And sure enough, out comes 10 fucking guys behind these 2 fuckers. And one of the guys scrambles behind a fucking potted plant, and the other guy starts scrambling towards the kiosk, and he dives right over the fucking wall of the kiosk. And all 10 guys just open up fire. And then I'm getting calls from my brother. I'm getting calls from fucking Chris. That there's fucking contact. On 3 fronts, contact. So they followed the kid because that was where the most of the contact was coming from, was where that kid came from. So they must have followed him or realized, hey, he went down this way. He hasn't coming back. And the rest of our team hasn't seen him on the opposite end of the fucking place. So he must be at the fucking plaza. And so they fucking called in everybody. Almost everybody came down to fucking say hi to us. So we're holding out as best as we can. We start opening fire. We're firing as best we can. They're all taking cover in the fucking buildings, in the fucking storefronts. They're hiding behind the columns. There's some fuckers on the fucking balcony. I'm calling out to Mark, like, where to fire his fucking machine gun. Mark's fucking tripping over me because I'm fucking trying to just trying to keep fucking cover fire and support for him, because he has to pop out. Like, his head pops out of the fucking wall. That's shielding him from BBs from the fucking guys on the first floor. And he's going to fucking pick up a 20-pound gun and mount it on top of the wall and then just start opening fire on the fucking balconies. So he's trying to cover me and I'm covering him. My brother's fucking trying to fucking stay as quiet and low to the ground as possible while trying to take fucking pot shots. Gunner's trying to fucking take pot shots as best he can. And that's when we start hearing hit from our fucking team, not the enemy team. We're just laying down suppressive fire to keep them away from us. So there we go. We start seeing the medic start running back and forth, trying to fucking grab people. And what you can do as a medic is they don't have to just sit there and stand. They can be dragged and pulled to a secure location. Where did they pull them? To the fucking Alamo. So now I have 3 injured guys just sitting there. I got 3 wounded. I got 3 wounded sitting there. Because Mark, it had to have been Mark, the one that brought my brother to Missouri. He had to have been the medic because he was running like a fucking champ, fucking sprinting. He dragged Chris and Nick, and I believe the kid, into the fucking base. No, Jake. It had to have been Jake that got hit because the kid got hit and he just stood there. He dragged all 3 of them, guns and equipment and all, back into the fucking base without getting hit once. He was dragging them by the scruff of their shirts with a pistol, firing randomly at any fucking saw a guy fucking pop his head out, pop, pop, pop. There you go. Drop the magazine right there. One of the guys, Jake, Chris, or Nick saw it. He'd pick it up and fucking put it in his dump pouch. And then he'd just slap another one in from his fucking belt. and he just fire off some more rounds. And he dragged all three in, and then he just closed the little fucking side door, the little fucking countertop. And there's all three wounded. They're not in game yet, and he opens up his fucking pouch, and there's all the rags, and he starts tying off one arm, then another arm, and then another arm. He's like, "There you go, you're tagged back in." And I'm like, "Thank God, Mark, but goddamn it, why the fuck did you bring him in here?" He's like, "This is the Alamo. This is the last stand." I'm like, "Yeah, but guess what? Like, look at Mark. He's having trouble with one guy sitting in here. He has to move with a 20-pound gun that's like 5 feet long. Now there's three dudes. There's three dudes laying here. I'm sitting here crouched trying to fire from under the little fucking wall, and now there's you. We're all crammed in here like fucking sardines with all our guns scattered everywhere, with all the ammunition and backpacks everywhere. We got to get the fuck out of here." He's like, "All right, well, what do you plan on doing?" I'm like, "We're going to fight the way that you just came from, because we're going to have to go to the food court." And so I forget which one of us had the grenades. I think it must have been Jake. I think it was Jake and Nick were the grenadiers. They had tornado grenades and flashbangs, or sound grenades, because that sounds more badass in my opinion. It sounds like something from 40K. But basically, it's the grenades I showed you. Thunder Bee grenades. You pull the pin, CO2 cartridge expands the case, and it makes a 180 decibel bang. And it was going to be even fucking louder with an echo out here in the middle of the fucking mall. So I tell them, pop a few grenades, throw them here, throw them there, throw them here, and throw them there. We're just gonna fucking clear the fucking perimeter of this plaza area that we're held up in, and we're gonna just gonna steamroll. I call in my brother. I'm like, "Where are you? Are you okay? Is Gunner okay? Where's the other two teammates?" He's like, "I'm fine. Gunner's fine. We're held up in a fucking storefront because they started moving into our position, so we took cover here." One of the guys is out. He was already hit, so he went back to base. The other guy's fucking scrambling towards us right now. I was like, "Well, tell Gunner to have him climb in. Tell him we're gonna just tell him we're gonna be popping fucking grenades." "All right, boss." We do it. We throw. Jake throws his grenades. Nick throws his grenades. Seconds go by. So we hear the fucking scurrying of people because they're trying to get out of the way of the fucking blast. Bang. Big old bang. Strung it up. Gun on my hip. Shotgun to my hip. Firing down that fucking plaza. See. Chat this. Successfully. How about now, Sten? So we finally pop the grenades. Jake throws his 2 towards where the 2 teammates that we had earlier come, and Nick threw his 2 grenades towards the area because we were going to basically block off 2 of the entrances, and we were just going to fight our way towards the food court from the other hallway, from the plaza. And I had slung my M16 over my shoulder because I was down to like half the magazines I had. And I had my shotgun, and I had like 40 fucking shotgun slugs. So I put a shotgun slug in. They only hold like 30 BBs, so that's like 10 shots. And bam, I just kicked open the fucking thing, and I start running out, pumping that, racking shots out of that shotgun, hip firing it. Mark came out with the fucking saw, and he just had the sling on his shoulder. He was holding the carry handle, and he was walking like the heavy from Team Fortress. Because that fucking drum holds 2,500 rounds. So he just had that thing on auto wind, and he was just fucking spraying and praying. Just suppressing the fucking, one of the hallway, the second hallway. Because we were going towards the Y end of the hallway, where the plaza was. So he was spraying the left side while we were going to go down the right side. And everybody else was firing at the fucking balconies and firing at the back to fucking suppress them, and we just started hoofing it as fast as we could. Then I saw my brother, Gunner, and the other teammate hopping over the fucking one of the windows and just running. They weren't even firing, they were just running. And so we hit a few guys that were holding up, and we just kept moving. And we went as far down as we could, and we told him which way to the fucking food court. And we left that kid. That kid was yelling at us, hey! We just left him. Fuck you, kid. Fuck you. Just and it's not the guy that was guiding. Oh, fuck off. It wasn't the guy who was guiding us. And I'm guessing, for whatever fucking reason, the food court. Because as soon as we finally got to the food court, that's where we saw it. All the tables and chairs were all flipped over and mishmashed. Some of them were in like okay, am I back? Apparently, Google Hangouts does not want to hear my old fucking Airsoft war stories. So anyways, we got some of the guys out in the hallway. We cleared that hallway. It was like 12 guys that we had cleared out. They were all hit. And so we were going to go up the stairwell where there was an elevator, an escalator. There was 2 sets of escalators. We were just going to go up the escalators, bang a left, go down the hallway, and just keep going across the second floor balcony, and to the right of us would be the massive food court. And so I told Mark, who had the saw, stay on that escalator because there's probably going to be a medic coming by, and they're going to tag all 12 of the guys if some of them weren't hit a second time. fire at will. You have my permission to dump the whole fucking drum if need be. And if you dump the drum, grab that gun, bring it back, or just meet up with us at the food court. We'll give you a gun if you don't have one. He's like, all right. So Mark stayed behind for a last man standing kind of fucking thing. And the rest of us just kept hoofing it. And finally, when we get to the food court, it's just chairs everywhere. It looked like the food court was hit by a fucking tornado or hurricane. There was a pile of fucking chairs, like staked right now next to the fucking where the arcade cabinets were and where the kiddie play area was. And we're like, well, where the fuck's the bomb? And the guy was like, well, we were over here. We were probably about 20 yards down from the food court when all of us got hit by a grenade. So he's like, all right, we're going to hold up in the kiddie play area. And I told my brother and Gunner, you two are going to hoof it with that guy because he knows where the bomb is. Go with him, grab the bomb, and fucking come back. And they're like, all right. So they started hoofing it best we can. We bunker up as best. We grab tables. To where the entrances were for this fucking place, and we're like, because it was like a daycare kind of thing. It wasn't like they had like a jungle gym and stuff, but it was just like something you'd see at a park. Like they had like little kiddie chairs for them to fucking sit and draw or eat their lunch and stuff. And they had like dinosaurs and shit. So they had like probably a 2.5 foot tall wall, just a fucking knee high, maybe hip high wall, just around the fucking thing. So we took all the tables we could, dragged them over, and we set them up like half circles. And we just dug in, and we were waiting. And sure enough, we heard the saw winding up, because that's how loud the fucking saw's mag can go. And we're like, oh fuck, Mark's gonna go. And I didn't give him the walkie-talkie or one of the radios, so we didn't know what the fuck was going on. Oh, great. Mark's fucking taking. Means we're not gonna have a heavy support guy. We're not gonna have one of the heavy machine guns that's gonna be out. We can't tag him back in. So he's just gonna be standing there wounded. And then we're like, well, and cover behind one of the fucking, some of the chairs and tables that were thrown down towards where Mark was. And here comes Mark running with the fucking machine gun in hand. And Jake and Nick panicked and they fired and hit him. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? And they're like, oh, sorry. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? On the radio, and they're like, it's Mark. We accidentally shot him. I'm like, well, get him the fuck over here. We're going to need him. So he ran back. He fell back to our position at the fucking kiddie play area while Jake and Nick stayed there. Because Mark had told them there was like eight or 10 guys that he had not hit. He only hit 2 or 3 of them. So he didn't know how many were there, but he knew that a bunch of them were running toward, like, just chasing after us after they got tagged back in. So he lit them up as best he could, and he ran out of ammo. So he was running back, and he wanted to reload the drum because he didn't have enough time to take the other drum mag out. So I told him, load it up as fast as you can because we don't know how long it's going to be before the rest of this team comes. And so, sure enough, as soon as he gets it loaded, and as soon as he puts the fucking trigger to fucking load. Pull the load fucking setting on. Here comes those fucking guys, and Nick and Jake start firing as fucking wildly and as fast as they can. And they all fucking scatter to try and get away. And they start throwing grenades at Nick and Jake's position. And then Jake and Nick get fucking hit. So now they're out. So it's like, great. Fuck. Well, this is our last stand, folks. And I keep calling out for from my brother on the radio. I'm like, have you found the bomb yet? And he ain't answering. I'm like, great. He probably got fucking. The majority of that team, probably what's left of that team, probably fucking found him and fucking shot him. So now he's wounded out there. God knows where. The other guy probably has to go back to base because he got hit once already. Lovely. We're stuck. We don't know where our bomb is. We don't know where the enemy bomb is. They're just out to kill us. So we just bunkered down and we started having a firefight with the remaining guys that Mark had tried to have a firefight with. And sure enough, here comes more of the fucking enemy team coming from the area where my brother had left. And so now we're being surrounded because they're now dipping through the countertops for where the fucking restaurants used to be. So they're ducking behind the countertop for Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, some Chinese places, Popeye's chicken. Just bobbing and weaving. And they're moving closer and closer around us. And there was like probably 8 restaurants on one side and 8 on the other. So they're moving on those sides. So there's all 8 of them. So all 8 of each side has at least 1 or 2 guys there firing at us. And we're stuck right dab in the middle. So we're surrounded on all sides. And I'd say for about 15 minutes, we were just in a constant firefight. And that's when I hear a call. I hear beeping on my radio. And it's my brother. Gunner was hit. Thankfully, he had a rag. So he was able to take that out. And my brother was able to strap that off on him. Because they didn't have a medic. The other guy got knocked out. So he had to head back to base. But both him and Gunner have the bomb. And they are heading back. And Gunner is firing wildly because there's a group of them that were stragglers that are fucking just following him. And he's like, is it clear? Can you clear us a path to get the fucking bomb there? I'm like, did the guy at least tell you where to put the bomb? Because I don't know where the fucking enemy base is. He's like, it's past the food court, down a service entrance, and it's a fucking break room for the fucking service crew that used to run them all. I'm like, where the fuck is this service entrance? Now, the food court had on them, because it overlooked one of the parking lots, big glass fucking windows. So big fucking glass windows, and it connected to the skyline. That was towards the back of me. There was 2 service entrances. One of the hallways led to the bathrooms, and then there was a service entrance there. That's not the one that was there. The other one to the right, which is right directly next to where the fucking glass windows are, that's the service entrance we have to go to. And that's right next to one of the fucking restaurants that has a lot of the fucking guys. So I'm like, great. Fucking great. We are fucked. Because there's a fucking bunch of guys following them. There's a bunch of fucking guys between them and us. And I don't know how the fuck we're going to clear them. Because Jake and Nick had grenades. And there ain't no way I'm hopping over this fucking wall and trying to do it. And not even Mark, the guy who fucking did it with 3 guys, is not even going to go out and try and save him. Because he knows it's going to fucking get him killed. So we're like, well, there's probably about 20 guys around us right now, and we're fighting as frantically as we can. Do you think you could surprise them and flank them? Hit the side where because when they were coming, they'd hit the side where the bathroom hallway is, where one of the service entrances are. I'm like, if you can do that, if you can flank them, try and throw the bomb towards the center of the room, of the food court. And one of us, I will have somebody run out and try and grab the bomb. Like if that whole team, because they'll be hit by two flanks. They'll have us laying down suppressive fire, and then they'll have my brother and Gunner fucking running through, trying to hit them as best we can, as best they could on the side. So if they try and turn their attention to them, so that because they have the bomb, throw the briefcase right into the fucking middle of the food court. We'll try and fucking scramble and grab it. So he goes, all right. Sure enough, we see my brother and Gunnar running up, and they start fucking firing as fucking frantically as they can. They hit 3 guys in a Taco Bell, then they're moving through. They're hopping over the fucking countertop. Some of the people across the food court are firing at them now because they can see that one of them is carrying a briefcase. You use a pistol. You can't one-hand a rifle or anything like that, so one of them is using a fucking pistol, and they're firing as frantically as and they're probably 20 yards away. All I hear is somebody grunt, my brother hurling the fucking briefcase because Gunnar got hit. And against like 6 guys. And he's like, there ain't no way I'm going to be able to do this. So he hurls it right over, and it skids and slides probably about 5 yards away from us. Instinctively, tries to hop up, and during that point, my brother kind of realized what he was doing. He hops over the counter, and he slides on his stomach. There we go. Christ almighty. Google Hangouts. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. You annoy me sometimes. Second. Okay. So what happened is my brother tried climbing over the countertop, and he slid on his stomach to avoid getting shot. And when he tried scrambling back up, he got hit. So now my brother's wounded. Gunnar had to head back to base to our spawn point because he's out of the match now. Chris is out of the match because he got hit first when we were having a firefight in the plaza. And the fucking bomb is sitting there 5 yards away from our base, our position. And I'm like, well, I guess it's time. It's all of our times. So I looked at everybody, and I was like, up and over. We're grabbing the bomb. We're all going to be meat shields to whoever grabs that fucking bomb first. And I told Mark, because he had, I think he had a couple more straps. I was like, Mark, try and get my brother. That's your fucking objective for me. That's my last order to you. Try and get my goddamn brother. We leave no man behind. Try and get him. He's like, got it, boss. So he hops over, I hop over, everybody hops over, and we just start fucking just firing at everything we see. We see somebody pop their head over a countertop, we fucking open fire. I forget who. God, it must have been. I think it was Mark who scooped up the fucking briefcase because the sauce just went silent. So I think Mark was the one that grabbed it. Either that or yeah, it was Mark. Mark grabbed it because Mark said that he couldn't use the saw anymore, and he was complaining about how fucking heavy it was. He strapped that fucker on there. He pulled out a pistol, grabbed the briefcase, and he's like, I got the bomb. And I'm like, okay, move. And so we started moving. Me, him, was on the team that wasn't hit. We all started moving. Started moving as fast as we could. Mark got my brother back in. My brother started running towards us. And Mark valiantly charged in and tried to get Jake and Nick back into the game because they were still wounded and they were still sitting there, just sitting under the fucking tables for shelter because there was BBs flying every which way and they didn't want to get hit. So Mark bobbed and weaved, and the last thing I saw Mark do was he slid like he was fucking going for home plate towards both of them. Now I'm running as fast as I can with Mark, and I'm hip firing with my fucking rifle now because I'm out of shotgun slugs. So I'm hip firing my rifle, spraying and praying as best I can to suppress the fucking enemy team because we're getting closer and closer to the fucking food court countertops. He gets to the corner and he opens up the fucking door to the service. He's like, "We're in." Immediately, like a fucking action movie, like a plot twist. As he opens that door, one guy with a shotgun, point blank shot right into the gut of Mark, and he got hit. And I'm just like, no. So I just dropped my rifle because it was on a sling, so it's just hanging. I pull out my pistol, pop, 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 fired 3 shots in the fucker's leg. So he's hit. Now, Mark's got the fucking bomb. I grab one of my rags, and I always keep at least 1 or 2 rags for me for when I'm hit. Because sometimes there isn't a designated medic, so you just have to have a fucking rag or a bandana. I pulled mine out, fucking hastily fucking wrapped it up because I was like, there is no way I'm grabbing this bomb. That's going to fucking put a big old bullseye on me. I'm not getting out. Nope. Tied it off. I'm like, you're back in, soldier. Get the fuck down that hallway. And I just sat and camped at the hallway entrance. And he started booking it. He left the saw with me. And I was like, all right, if need be, because I think I was down to my second to last magazine. I was like, if I run out of ammo on my fucking magazine for my rifle, I'm going to put my rifle down. I'm just going to hip fire this fucking machine gun. I'm going to wait. I'm going to hold it out just a little while longer until fucking like Jake and Nick and my brother and Mark get back, because they're still out in the food court and there's still firefights going on. There's still people firing. I'm firing at some of them. Some of them are trying and flank and get around the door because I'm using the door as a fucking makeshift shield. And I'm just popping off single fire shots to conserve ammo. And all of a sudden I hear a loud bang, bang, 2 loud bangs, 2 grenades go off. So I'm like, oh, thank fuck. Jake and Nick are in the game now. And I see Jake and Nick. They're fucking hoofing it fast as they can, and they're crawling past the countertops on the outside. Apparently they threw grenades into the food court, the Taco Bell or the Burger King that was right next to me, and the restaurant that was served that one. So they popped their grenades into those 2 and they cleared those out of everybody. Because if you're in a 10-foot area or a 15-foot area of a grenade, you're technically considered out. So they outed like fucking 10 guys. So they're crawling through that fucking area, and they're like, okay, we got a bunch of fucking guys out. I was like, where's my brother and where's Mark? They're like, Mark got your brother out. He's just bunkered down in the fucking plate kitty area. We told him to come with us, but he didn't want to come this way because he didn't know what the fuck was going on. Mark got out. He got hit, and we didn't have any rags left because he used the last 2 that he had on for us. So we're all that's left. I'm like, well, get your ass down the hallway. You're coming with me. And apparently Jake had I don't know why Jake had a stupid big dumb action hero moment where he's like, fuck that, I'm going back for your brother. Like, you told Mark to save your brother, I'm going in there to save your brother because we leave no man behind. And I'm like, now is not the time for leaving no man behind fucking shit. We got to get the fucking bomb down there because I don't want to be out. I don't want to lose the match. And he's like, fuck it. So he just ran out. And right as soon as, like, fucking Willem Dafoe and Platoon, he's running and he gets right towards it and pop. He just gets lit up like a fucking proverbial pincushion, just all over. You can see all the white BBs hitting his fucking green t-shirt. He got hit at least 100 times. And that was it. He just threw his hands up. He was like, I'm out. So me and Nick just closed the fucking service entrance to the hallway. And Nick's like, how far down is this fucking lobby? I was like, I don't fucking know where the break room lobby is. I don't even know if Mark is still in. Take this. You're gonna need it. So I handed him the saw. And I pulled out my pistol because that was the only thing I had left of ammo. So we're walking down. I have my pistol. I'm fucking clearing the rooms, making sure I'm going in first because I'm the only one with a fucking dinky pistol. It's all clear. There's no resistance. And we fucking get back. And as we're walking back, we hear Mark just laughing. We come back in, and there's Mark sitting there with a bomb. Right where the fucking, there's 2 big blue fucking, they painted it blue to designate, because we were red team, they were blue team. They painted a big blue circle right on the floor and on the ceiling. And right inside in the middle, he had put the fucking briefcase, and he's just laughing. And we're like, why are you laughing? And he's like, oh, game warden. He came in and he's like, wow, somebody actually fucking did what they were supposed to do and put a fucking bomb in here. And he just walked out. And that's why he was laughing. And I'm like, well, now what do we do? He's like, game warden said the game's over technically. Like, there's still the time limit for them to put the bomb in, but it seems like everybody's just in the food court fighting now. So we just sat there. And we waited for any enemy fucking team members to fucking go down, but they never did. And then the fucking whistles blew. Mark, me, and Nick came out, and my brother apparently just sat there, huddling under the fucking. He huddled under the fucking swing sets, under the jungle gym. He just huddled there in a fetal position with his rifle, just waiting. And they just kept firing at him because they didn't know where he was because he had crouched under the wall, so they didn't know where he was going to pop up. So they just kept firing shots, glancing fucking shots every now and then. So that was the end of that firefight. And that was the end of the match. And it was like a 3-hour match, 3-4 hours at least. For insanely long in airsoft. Oh, I miss it. I miss it. I think one of my favorite ways to play the game, though, is Fox versus Hounds. Fox versus Hounds is you basically have one player as a fox, or you can have foxes, so you can have multiple people. But it's the minority versus the majority. So it's usually one, for every one player that's a fox, you usually have 10 guys against them. And so the goal of the fox is to go from one side of the field to the other without getting hit. Because if they get hit once, they're dead. And their goal is to outsmart and outrun the hounds and get to safety. and the hounds have infinite lives. But when they get hit, they have to go back to base, to spawn, which is exactly where the fox has to go. So at first it's good to kill. Like when you're starting from where you spawn and you're going through and and hounds are coming, it's good to shoot them because that lowers the resistance. But it starts to get worse and worse for firefighting. We're trying to kill enemy teammates because they're closer to their spawn, which means they can refresh and come back right to the fight and try and track you down quicker. So one of the most memorable times, and it's the reason why a lot of my brother's friends do not like playing with me when we play. They actually protested playing Fox versus Hounds again because of it. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm probably the best airsoft player out of all the people that I've played with. I don't really like to spray and pray. I only do it when I have to. I'm very conservative when it comes to my ammunition. And I'm a very cover-oriented kind of player. If there's cover, I'm going to take it, and I'm usually to do, and I kind of under pressure. What the fuck's going on? Plus, just my basic survival tactic family, and from fucking my. Give me a second.